Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
The game is ended, and now we begin. It's Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition. Real talk, real reaction, real opinions for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Today was an instance of one team showing up to the stadium ready to have their game of the season, and another team showing up thinking that they could simply put on their uniforms and get a win. Lo and behold, one of those teams achieved their goal. The other one, not so much. Miami Dolphins get their biggest win of the season and a much-needed win against the Buffalo Bills for just the fans' psyche. It's been forever since it feels like we beat the Bills. Routing them 30-13. You could tell right away the Buffalo Bills were sleepwalking in this game, and the Miami Dolphins were doing the exact opposite, stepping up for this game. Felt like at halftime they were probably going around in the Bills locker room saying, wake up, wake up. It was too late. Miami Dolphins, not the better team overall, but today, the better team. Now, some Dolphins fans like myself, Dan Day, by the way, Robert Grieper helping me out, very happy about today's win. You feel good. You feel elated. You feel like, man, maybe firing Chris Grier, long time coming, maybe that was the difference. Maybe this team has figured some things out. Maybe they caught the Bills sleepwalking. That's okay. I'm excited. I'm happy. Finally, we beat the Bills. And man, beat them in a bad way. Josh Allen, although he had 300 yards, didn't look all that great. Nobody on their team particularly looked very good. The defense looked like it ran the day for the Miami Dolphins. But then again, there's probably some Dolphins fans saying, little too little too late. What's the point? It's a pointless win in a season that's pretty much already thrown away. What now? 3-7? Ooh. The Bills are good for a stinker game here and there. Maybe they're riding the hangover of beating Kansas City last week. I don't care. I'm happy for the win. How do you feel, though? 305-567-0560. We're going to take your phone calls like we usually do here on Game Day Uncensored. And remember, it is Game Day Uncensored, so don't curse. But you could say the way you feel. If you feel as though this was a step in the right direction, or if you feel as though this was kind of a step back. We always do the old Rosie Perez from White Man Can't Jump. Sometimes you win, but you really lose. And sometimes you lose, but you really win. And then sometimes you win, but you really tie. What does this mean to you as a Dolphins fan? What does this mean for the Dolphins? What does this mean for the organization who fired Chris Grier after a very lackluster performance against the Baltimore Ravens? Traded off Jalen Phillips in the midweek at the trade deadline. Team that looked like it was kind of, One thing you do know for sure about these Miami Dolphins, they have not quit on the season. They have not quit on Mike McDaniel, and they have continued to play. 305-567-0560. We're going to the phone lines right away. 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jackson, calling from South Carolina.
Go ahead, Jackson. What's on your mind?
So I've been looking over social media, and every single person said the Bills were going to stomp us today. But what happened? We stomped them themselves. Because you know why? We did really good, like running it down their throats. We've been doing really good punching out the ball on defense. And I'm really excited about this team because they knew how to play today, and they came out there and won. Because nobody thought Buffalo was going to lose. They all thought that we would lose by a blowout by Buffalo. And we proved them wrong. And that's why this team did good today, and they should all get the game ball because they know how to prove people wrong. But honestly, though, you're right about we threw the season away, like pretty much every single game, pretty much. But it's like weird that this team can't win against the Ravens, but they can beat the Bills.
Well, that's the division rival, Jackson. That's the way it is. Sometimes there are two teams that are very familiar with themselves. And I think the Bills came in here and legitimately thought they were just going to show up and they would get their W. All the Bills fans that were in town at the Elbow Room, none of them ever talked about how worried they were about this game or how things could go wrong. And lo and behold, they took a whooping. And I mean, there's no other way to put it. They took a whooping from the Miami Dolphins as the final seconds on the clock tick off. For all that says Mike McDaniel cannot beat a good team, cannot beat a team with a winning record. He went in there and his record is bad against. Let's not, try to sugarcoat it. His record is bad against good teams. His record is bad against playoff teams. Tua Tagovailoa, bad against playoff teams. But nonetheless, today, they were the better team. The defense, much better. Got some really good takeaways that really changed the game. The offense looked solid for the most part, although Tua Tagovailoa did throw 2 interceptions. Just a big game all in all for the Miami Dolphins. 305-567-0560 is the number to call. It is a final 30-13. Now, if I would have told you before the game, final score would be 30-13, most people would say another Dolphins loss. But no, it's the other way around. Got a feeling early in this game, and I didn't say so much like, oh, the Dolphins are just so much better. I got the feeling Dolphins came to play, and the Bills are not awake at all.
Was that before or after the first time out?
Inauspicious start. I will say that. Wow. But yeah, the first series of not even plays, series of events to start the game. Now, the Dolphins take the ball on the opening kickoff. Understandable. Keep it out of Josh Allen's hand. We want the ball. We want to control. We want to do what we got to do. False start on the first, not even snap of the game. Didn't really even look like a false start, but nonetheless, it was a false start. And then we call a timeout simply so Mike McDaniel could argue. That really blew my mind. So now you haven't made a play, and you've got a false start, a timeout, and then 3 plays later, Tua throws an interception, his 12th of the year. And I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hopefully Buffalo takes it easy on us today. Buffalo took it easy on us for sure. Feel good. 30-13. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 104.3 FM, WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Angel from Miami.
Angel, what's on your mind?
Hey there, man. So I've been watching the Dolphins all year, and it's been obviously up and down. With this game and the rest of the year has just been down. But I'm kind of watching this year out of fear, man, because I'm watching this game. They win. What if at the end Stephen Ross is like, you know what? They had a great win. Why don't we just bring this guy back? Keep the coach going.
Yeah, well, they got rid of Chris Greer. That is one of those things, you go back to the year that they quote unquote tanked with Brian Flores. And remember, late in the year, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And that was the difference between us getting Joe Burrow and ended up with Tua Tagovailoa. If we'd have lost that game, we would have probably had the first overall pick and taken Joe Burrow. And of course, we know probably what our trajectory would have been from there. We've seen what Joe Burrow's been able to do when he's healthy. So yeah, are you one of those Dolphins fans that looking at this game is like, ooh, this is one that could come back to bite us?
Yes and no. I mean, I was cheering when they got the touchdown to Waddle, right? I jumped out of my couch, but at the same time, you look at that and you're like, man, we're getting farther away from maybe this future quarterback, maybe a stellar offensive lineman that's going to actually protect whatever quarterback we're having in the future. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this year because they've just sent us in so many different directions. You don't even know what to think anymore.
Yeah, Angel, I understand what you're saying. I know a lot of Dolphins fans are like you. It's bittersweet. Yeah, you won. Yeah, you beat Buffalo. You beat a division rival. You beat a team that you couldn't beat for so long that has owned you. You beat a team that everybody loves every year. They're the darling to go to the Super Bowl. But at the same time, what did we really win other than the game? We could have cost ourselves some draft picks and all the other stuff. So I understand where you're coming from, Angel. I don't think you're alone in Dolphin Nation. So bittersweet. Let's just celebrate it now, man. Let's just be happy. It's Sunday fun day now.
That's a good way to look at it. I agree with you, man. I'll try to take it that way, and I'm not going to think about the fact that,
look,
hopefully we don't have McDaniel next year. That's what I'm hoping for, man.
I'll say this about this, Angel. So, we don't have Chris Greer anymore. So, the draft pick, if he'd still be on the team, it wouldn't have really mattered because he'd have probably picked somebody bad. So you feel good now that we'll get a new general manager that knows what they're doing, and no matter what pick we get, it'll be a good pick this year.
Agreed.
So
I like that.
Let's celebrate, Angel. Trying to stay positive, baby. Look, we beat the Bills. We never beat the Bills. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 104.3 FM, WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, go ahead.
Yes, this is Henry. I'm calling from Sydney, Australia. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning here, and for so many months, I've been going to school and work, pissed off because my Dolphins have found ways to lose winnable games. But I know the record is not good, like you said, but this was a good win, and I hate Buffalo. I hate New England. Yeah, so I'm originally from Margate in South Florida, but live in Australia. So this was a good one. I'm not going to be pissed off today. So good one, and keep up the good work.
Henry, I like your positivity. Real quick before you go, I want to ask you this. As a Dolphins fan, no matter where you're at, Sydney, Australia, or right here in Miami, did you get a little bit of a sinking feeling when Keon Coleman got that touchdown? It was 16-6.
Yeah.
Did you get a little bit of that sinking feeling when Jackson Hawes caught that touchdown? It was 23-13 with 3 minutes left. You started like, no.
We're finding a way to listen, I always say that if 5 things need to happen for the Miami Dolphins to lose the game, they'll find a way to do 13 teams to lose that game. 13 things to lose that game. So this was a good one. I'm going to have a pep in because I hate Buffalo. I hate the Patriots. I call them the Cheatriots.
Good Dolphins fan. Good Dolphins fan right there. Hating the Buffalo Bills. Real quick, Henry, is Foster's really Australian for beer?
Yes, it is. But we also have VB, Victoria Bitters. But if you just go to any bar and say, give me a Foster, so they'll give it to you. That's the 9 beer in Australia.
Well, have a couple to celebrate, Henry. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. Some Dolphins fan being positive. This is what I say. Look, let's celebrate this one. You got to hate the Bills if you're a Dolphins fan. You got to like winning division games. You got to like going in there, especially with all the Bills fans. And you know what? We're going to get my cousin, Vladimir Louison. He's at the game. We're going to find out, was it a home game for the Dolphins today? Because from what I'm understanding, it might have been a home game for the Bills because there was a lot of Bills fans there. The Dolphins fans were loud and proud today. We're going to find out what it was like in the stadium. The Bills fans take over Elbow Room. We know about that all the time. Maybe took over the stadium today. We'll hear from my cousin Vladimir Louison in just a little while. He'll give us the vibe of the stadium and the locker room and everything that's going on. But the Dolphins have some pride. These guys, that is one thing you learned about this team today. They have pride. But I'm looking at this. If you feel as though that we lost draft equity or whatever you want to say, you can call in 305-567-0560. I understand what you're saying, but now no, ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch, Chris Greer, is no longer going to be making those decisions. So you have to hope that no matter where you draft, whether this season is on the ascend or this was just a little minor, blip on us going down again, descending, but that the new general manager, no matter what pick you get, whether it's a top 4 pick or whether it's somewhere closer to 10, that they're going to make the right choices and get the right personnel. So maybe today's win was more of a win than you think it is. And we're not losing that draft equity. We're just gaining the general manager and gaining confidence. Could this be the beginning of something beautiful for the Dolphins? I know I say this every week that they win, and there hasn't been a lot of those. But hey, you beat the Bills. And I know the Bills are good for a stinker here and there, but 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Alexander.
Alexander, go ahead.
Yeah. You know what? The Dolphins won. Why are people one person was complaining. Take the win. Because if they had lost, they would have been moaning about, the Dolphins lost. We need to fire this guy and that guy. We don't know what the future holds for us. We don't know. You can draft a quarterback, and he might not be any good.
Ryan Leaf.
Take the win. Take the win. Be happy.
Hey, I'll tell you this.
Be happy with it.
This is the thing I always tell people. You know what winning organizations practice? They practice winning. They practice having a winning attitude. If you're an organization that doesn't have good practices in winning and trying to win as much as you possibly can in any situation, you're going to be a losing organization. So I am one of these people that doesn't believe in, we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Let's just let's tank. Let's do this. Let's try to get this. I believe in do the best you can, win the games you can win. And then that attitude, that type of personality, as we always said, this Dolphins team has a personality. That this might be a change in the Dolphins' personality where now they know they can go up against big, tough teams. They know they can play up against playoff teams. This could change small parts of their culture that could eventually become bigger parts of their culture, I think.
And another thing, too, people were saying, the Dolphins aren't playing for McDaniels. Well, what did it look like today? It looked like they were playing for him.
I thought, first of all, by the way, I think both Buffalo Bills games was some of Mike McDaniel's best work. I thought his game plan for the 2 times we played Buffalo this year was fantastic, by the way.
Yes, he did a good job. Let him have his credit. Let him have his day. Let's not come out here complaining about they won. Now, we're not going to have a good draft pick. Who knows? They may lose the rest of the games for the rest of the year, but they have a win today. Enjoy the win.
And it was
Don't
against the Bills. Hey, look, it doesn't get much sweeter. You know, I'm a Dolphins fan. I live here. I love here. I'm also born and raised in New Orleans. For the Dolphins to beat the Atlanta Falcons and the Bills in the same year, I couldn't be happier.
And before I go, just remember this. The Dolphins, who woke up this morning believing the Dolphins were going to beat the Buffalo?
I do it every year, though. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Every game.
Who woke up saying Miami's going to win? Nobody. But they did. So let's take this and be happy. Not take this looking at, oh, man, we're losing draft stock.
I'm not worried about the draft stock. Like I said, I'm more worried about a winning attitude and a winning culture than the draft pick. I think winning attitude, winning culture, like teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, teams like the Baltimore Ravens, teams like now in Detroit, that is what is the determining factor, not so much because you draft somebody.
I agree.
I'm all on that. I thought Mike McDaniel did a great job today. The timeouts, the first timeout, but calling those timeouts on those 4th downs and what Buffalo was doing when they got the biggest, strongest quarterback in the league on that first 4th down, trying to throw a deep pass down the field, that was dumb. But I thought Mike McDaniel said, you know what? Instead of trying to always save your timeouts, let's call timeout. Let's stop some momentum. Let's try to get our personnel right. I thought that was a good thing. I know they ran out of timeouts. It didn't end up burning them. I know they missed an extra point. Didn't end up burning them. But I thought Mike McDaniel did the right thing by calling the timeout and stopping the 4th down momentum that Buffalo might have had, and also getting his personnel and his team ready. Mike McDaniel did a good job today. Whether you like him or hate him, he schemed this thing up right. Anthony Weaver, whether you like him or hate him, he schemed this thing up right. But guess what? You know who really did the good job? The players on the field. They took it upon themselves to have some pride, have some initiative, have some physicality, have some nastiness in them. That's a team. A lot of people say they could quit. What do they care? They're playing for their next team or their next contract. That's a team that saw the big bad Buffalo Bills, who beat Kansas City last week, who is a darling to go to the Super Bowl, who is going to come into your house and take it. They always do. You can't beat them. You can't beat playoff teams. Buffalo owns you. Josh Allen's your daddy. We're going to bring all of our fans. We're going to take over Elbow Room. We're going to take over Fort Lauderdale. We're going to take over the stadium. All of that. Said, you know what? We're the effing Miami Dolphins. We got some pride. We're pro players too. They're division rivals. We're going to take it to them. And that's exactly what our Miami Dolphins did. I want to hear from you. 305-567-0560, 104.3 FM, WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Alejandro from Hollywood.
Good to hear from you, Alejandro. We got a win on our books.
We got to win, baby. And let me tell you something. Tanking is not the answer. You know, creating a winning culture with the players that we have now is the answer. And at the end of the day, people want us to get draft capital, and a lot of fans say, no, we need to draft a quarterback. No, we don't need to draft a quarterback. What we need to do is grow the team, build the team from the inside out, build the trenches, because without winning the trenches, you're not going to win football games, and that's the bottom line. And good for the Dolphins. They got the dub. We got the dub. We're happy going to the Elbow Room. I'm going to go ahead and pound it.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, you got rid of Chris Greer. That was what a lot of people believe was our problem. Chris Greer seemed to be the problem. He's gone. Now, of course, draft is important, but now we hopefully can get a guy or a girl or a group of people that can go in there and no matter what the pick is, find the right person, the right personnel, the right attitude and everything like that. Teams tank all the time and it doesn't do anything. The teams that are consistently good, like I said, are the teams that have that winning culture. You don't think Kansas City has a winning culture? You don't think the Bills have a winning culture? They haven't won today, but you don't think the Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, those are the teams that are good. They don't always have good draft picks, but they find a way because they have that winning culture. And today was a big win for the Miami Dolphins. Will it mean big things going down the future? We shall find out and see. But Alejandro, I'm glad you're celebrating with us again, man. Thank you so much for your call.
Yep, winning can become an epidemic, and we got to build a culture where we start winning and learn how to win. That's just the bottom line.
That is the bottom line right there. Love our wins. Love everything that we got going on. One more phone call before we go to break. 305-567-0560, 1043 FM, WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Leon from Pembroke Pines.
Leon, give it to me.
Yes, man, I don't know how to feel about this win today, man. Isn't this how the team that we thought was going to be playing all season long?
Yeah, I know. That's what we thought we'd get week one against the Colts. We didn't know the Colts were going to be that good, but this is the team we thought we were going to get from week one.
It's so weird, man. And this is the game the Dolphins would win, right? When we're 2-7 and we just like after the win today, I just sat back and I was like, I don't even feel like we won today. I mean, it was cool to watch. It wasn't an eyesore like usually it is, you know. I mean, and let's not forget, Tua still threw 2 interceptions, and thank God for those fumbles we got back, man. But I just don't know how to feel about this team, man. This specific team right now. What are your thoughts, man?
I understand what you're saying, man. It's one of those things. It's kind of bittersweet. You say, we got a big win. We got a division rival win. We played our best game of the season. The defense looked like the way we wanted them to look, or we thought they were going to look all year. Zach Sealer even got a sack. Tua was passing all over the place.
And then we're 3-7.
And then you look at the 3-7, you're like, well, what does it really mean? I mean, it's maybe too far gone. We're already too far behind the 8 ball. Now, I mean, like, does it feel that good, or is it just one of those things? And also, let's just say this, man. I really think the Bills, they showed up thinking that they could just walk out there and get the win. They walked through a lot of that game.
Yeah, and then now we got to go on the road. What is it, in Brazil, and play Washington now? And what happens? We go out there and we lay a stinker, and we look like we've been looking like the last 5 weeks. You
right?
Know what I mean, and it's just like, wow, that Bills game just was like, what did that even mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's why we play this season out. You don't know in the grand scheme of things what this win means. That's why I say a lot of times we've got to celebrate our wins and just move on from our losses and try to get better. We're going to be in Madrid next week for a 9:30 a.m. kickoff against the Washington Commanders that will not have Jaden Daniels. So I don't know. Maybe you start. I mean, I know some Dolphins fans are going to get mad. You start rattling off some wins, and I know what you're going to say. Yeah, but does that really make a difference? All it really does is kind of get us right back to where we've been the past couple of years at about 500. I don't know. This game could mean.
Let's say we finish the season 10-7.
Okay,
and we get blown out in the first round against Buffalo or Kansas City, and it's like, okay, you just did the same thing to us fans again, year after year after year. You dangle this golden nugget in front of us, and you pull the carpet out from under us. Then you dangle it again. Isn't it not the same thing year after year after year? No matter who we got. What is it?
You sound like a lot of Dolphins Nation right now. You sound like a lot of Dolphins Nation. I can't give you an answer. And this is the thing, too. If they do go 10-7, which would be fantastic for them to win that many games in a row and finish the season like that, but that would mean Mike McDaniel's definitely coming back. And I know some Dolphins fans might not like the prospect of that either.
Well, I think most Dolphins fans like Mike McDaniel. I think, not having a real quarterback has put a damper on him. Because, I mean, even today, I think we should have won 48-10.
Yeah.
If we had a real franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I understand that. But for the most part, Tua made some plays today. I know he had those 2 interceptions, that one on the 3rd play of the game, but then he also threw one later in the game. But for the most part, everybody did their part today. But I understand Dolphins Nation's frustration right now saying, yeah, it's a win, but is it really a win? Doesn't kind of feels like a win, kind of. No. I want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. We'll take more of your calls and react to the Dolphins' 30-13 win over the Buffalo Bills. Next, Robert Grieper, Dan Day. This is Game Day Uncensored postgame on 1043 FM, WQAM.
Listen to us on FM 1043 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Same great shows, same great games. Plus, you can use the rewind feature and listen to anything you missed. Go for it.
Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 1043 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Inauspicious start for the Miami Dolphins. They take the opening kickoff because they don't want the Bills. They win the coin toss, take the opening kickoff because they don't want the Bills to have the ball and Josh Allen to work his magic, especially at the very beginning of the game. And then they decide to false start before the first snap. Then they decide to call a timeout so Mike McDaniel can argue the false start on the first snap of the game. Then 3 plays later, Tua Tagovailoa throws an interception, and you're thinking, oh my goodness. Tua does lead the league in interceptions now with 13. You go, this is going to be terrible. That was the worst part of the day. After that, it was all downhill. Everything easy breezy for the Miami Dolphins, making the Buffalo Bills look terrible. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 1043 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Dan, it's Josh calling from Miami.
Hey,
I
Josh.
wasn't sure if that was... Hey, I'm calling you after all these games, bro. Win or lose.
I appreciate it.
I am here.
You're real. You're a real one.
I'm a real fan. I don't know what to say about today's game, man. A little bit sloppy. Some good parts on the defense. Getting Josh Allen the fumble. Getting Cook the fumble. I don't mind, like, that second Tua interception because he's throwing deep anyhow. I would just maybe like to see him a little more controlled and maybe look for a check down on those plays instead of throwing those 50-50 balls.
I mean, throwing off his
have
back.
The receivers to go up and get those.
No quarterback should throw off their back foot. When he threw off his back foot, it was terrible.
And the crazy part is I think he threw that with all his might.
Ooh.
Like you saw him wincing as he threw it.
Ugh.
So yeah.
Yeah, you look at
it was one of the.
You look at his ball and you look at Josh Allen's ball, and they look quite different.
Yeah, I would even be happy with a Baker Mayfield ball. Like, I don't know.
Hey,
Tua is not it. He's really not. I can't blame the coach for too much this game. Normally he looks lost, like the coach from Waterboy. But that's the best way I can describe him, bro. Like somebody took his notebook and he don't know how to write plays, bro. I really don't know what to tell you, but I'm gonna hang up and listen, bro. Like it was a good game. Big ups to the Dolphins. They played hard. You know,
yeah,
they got to keep doing that.
They came with heart today. They came with pride today. They came with anger. They came with physicality. But that's the way good teams do every game. So you can't just have it here and there. You have to have it every week. And some weeks we know this is a different Dolphins team than you saw today.
Yeah, this is very true, man. This is Achan played. I can't say nothing about Achan. I'm glad we didn't trade him. That's
I can say nothing.
I'm happy about.
I can say nothing but good things about Achan because you watch these other running backs like Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon II and Alec Ingold, whatever. He's a fullback, but it just looks like Achan's on a different level from everybody else in the game right now.
He truly is. He truly is, Dan.
And I think for me, I want to say that Jalen Waddle has ascended into that wide receiver one. He deserves to be a wide receiver one in this league. He's one of the top 10 in yards in all the NFL this season. If you've been looking today, he had 84 yards, and he worked that rookie for the Buffalo Bills. I think now it's safe to say Jalen Waddle is truly a wide receiver one in this league.
If he's not, he's really close. He's like a 1.5 maybe, by default. But I get what you're saying. I just hope they can do something with the quarterback situation next year. And I know they're gonna have to tag Achan because they don't have the money to pay him, but they got to figure out something with the quarterback because Tua's not it, bro.
Yeah,
he's really not.
I understand what you're saying, and Devon Achan is a must keep by any means, by any necessary way that you do because he is too much of a budding star. And what he did today, 22 carries, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, plus some big breakout runs. You got to admit, Devon Achan is that guy that we have been hearing so much about. He even threw in some receiving yards, 51 receiving yards. Man is a star in this league. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 1043 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lee.
Lee, what's up?
From Miami? Listen, I'm a longtime Dolphins fan. I was one of, probably 20,000 people who saw Joe Auer run back the opening kickoff for a touchdown in 1966, the very first play of their existence. And I love the Dolphins, but I got to tell you, and I try not to be a hater, and this is not out of hate. Tua is, I won't say he's the worst quarterback in the league starting, but he's among the worst starting quarterbacks in the league. And even worse, the head coach is absolutely by miles the worst head coach in the league. I don't know what, the funny thing is, if you hear him, and I'm sure you do, at his press conferences and so forth, and he says two words, and then there's an and then there's and if you can see it live, he's looking down at his feet. And in the newspaper, when I read his quotes, he has perfect sentences, like they clean it up like crazy. I mean, he's just incompetent. And you described it a little while ago about how the opening series went, the first few series. Why is he calling a timeout there? Does it matter? You have 59 and a half minutes left in the game.
Yeah, and it was a false start on the first, not even the first snap of the game. Like, you got to pick and choose your battles right there, coach.
Yeah, like what difference does it make?
Yeah,
so now you have what, a few, you don't even have any, I don't think any time came off the clock. That was a touchback, right?
Yeah.
So you still had 60 minutes.
Oh man, I thought he schemed things up right. And for the part of Mike McDaniel, maybe not being as charismatic as we'd like a head coach to be, there's a guy named Bill Belichick who everyone got on for being very dry, very not charismatic, but he won a whole lot of games and a whole lot of championships in this league.
But he could speak. At least he could speak. This guy looks like the caller before, I think it was, who suggested like he lost his notebook. He doesn't know where he's at. I mean, seriously, this guy is absolutely incompetent. And I got to tell you, if you bring up charisma, I was just talking about his general competency, but if you speak about charisma, I can't imagine him inspiring a team in the locker room. I'm sorry. I don't see how there's any way that he could do that. Any incentive that these players have has to come from inside them, or perhaps maybe some of the assistant coaches, but it couldn't be from him.
Well, they seem like they played hard for whoever they played hard for today. I thought this was the Dolphins' best effort, most complete game. And to be honest, I thought Mike McDaniel's maybe best game as a coach for the Miami Dolphins. The game plan, he had a game plan from the get-go. He was not one of these guys saying like, we'll figure it out. He knew we have to control the ball. We have to have the ball. We're going to win the coin toss. We're going to take the kick because we're going to keep it out of Josh Allen's hand. And I thought his game plan was great. And he learned something. Let's get the ball to Devon Achane. Let's get the ball to Devon Achane. Let's get the ball to Devon Achane. And lo and behold, seemed to work pretty good today. I thought Mike McDaniel was really good on the game plan. I thought his last Bills game was really good on the game plan. But how do you feel? 305-567-0560, 104.3 FM, WQAM.
Hey,
what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dan, this is your boy Sean. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Sean. Good to hear from you, man.
Good to hear. Hey, I got to ask you a question. Did we win today or what?
We won.
These callers, man, call up here Debbie Downing, man. Listen, I could care less than the dude. Conference, and all this. We won today, okay? And a win's a win as far as I'm concerned. So people should be happy.
It's not just a win. It's a win against the Buffalo Bills, a rival, a division rival, a team that's favored to be in the Super Bowl, a team that's had our number for years.
Okay.
We got that monkey off our back, man. This is a big win.
No, I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm going to the casino and bet on next week.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that now.
No, I ain't going to do that now. But we won, and that's all that matters today, man.
Hey, Sean, I'm happy with the win. I'm excited. I think it feels good. Who knows? Hope springs eternal. I'm that type of guy. Maybe this team got some confidence. Maybe this team's figured some things out. Maybe this sets this organization, after getting rid of Chris Greer, that it's a new day for the Miami Dolphins. So maybe.
Maybe, but, man, these dudes are playing for jobs. That's what it looks like to me.
Okay.
Because it seems like when they get rid of Greer, I guess get rid of Phillips and everything like that, I guess everybody's got to get scared, and now they start playing for their jobs and playing for their career. So I think that's got a lot to do with it.
Whatever it was today, they went out there and they played hard. And I was proud of the Miami Dolphins today. Best game of the year by far. And like I said,
By far.
maybe 2 years down the road, we look back and like it all changed on that Dolphins when they beat the Bills, when they didn't have any reason to quote unquote win. And the organization from them has been just, fantastic.
But you know what, man? I think people want us to. I think a lot of fans just want us to lose so we can just get rid of Mike and rebuild everything. They're like they're kind of like they're in fear. If we win too much, we're gonna run it back. That's what they're calling them like. That's what the calls are sounding like.
I understand, but I also understand where they're coming from with that because they really want a lot of change and they feel as though the change needs to be made. I get that, but also I feel as though we've lost so much this year that this hasn't even sunk in as feeling real yet. Like, I think that's why some people are still kind of down, like, man, we won, but it doesn't feel like a win. It's like, we don't know what this feeling is like that much this year.
Yeah, but you know what, man? There's going to be some changes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, you've already seen one domino fall.
Yeah, there's going to be some changes. All right, brother, I'll talk to you.
So glad to hear from you, Sean. Thank you so much. Love when we hear from you. 305-567-0560. We'll hear from you next. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on Game Day Uncensored Postgame on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Hey, we want to.
Feeling good about a Dolphins win today, 30-13. Was it the Dolphins just taking it to the Bills, or was it the Bills maybe sleepwalking and overlooking this game a little bit? Was it a little bit of the South Beach flu? I'll tell you, the Bills looked gassed today as the game went on. And I know it's kind of hot and it's humid and it rained a little bit, but they looked absolutely gassed. I'll be honest. Robert Grieper and I are talking about it. I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of, like I said at the beginning, one team came with pride and ready to play the best game of their season. And another team came thinking they're going to put on their gear and they were just going to be given a W. And that went head to head and erupted in the Bills' face. So if you're one of those Bills fans that came and took over the Elbow Room and took over South Beach and took over all these bars and said, we coming here for a party. It's freezing in Buffalo and your weather is our weather. We take it all back now. It's all ours.
I don't know if you saw the video of the Bills fan before the game trying to break a table. It took him 3 times to break the table.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that the effort just wasn't there that the Bills normally have going into a game.
I really think Bills fans, the Bills in general, they came in kind of on a work vacation. And it was a business trip, but it was more of the trip than the business. And the Dolphins ended up giving them the business. 305-567-0560. Want to hear from you. 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Brewski.
Brewski. I'm going to drink a couple of them tonight to celebrate this Dolphins win. What's going on?
What's going on? You know, it's kind of bitter and sweet, you know, in the sense of, you know, I got to say this, and I'm just speaking from a logical sense.
Please.
And respectfully, man, a lot of our fans got their panties in a bunch, man. You know, and this is the reason I'm saying this. You know, I've watched football for a very long time, and I've seen Peyton Manning lead the league in interceptions. I've seen Brett Favre throw so many interceptions. I've seen even Tom Brady have games where he's thrown 5 interceptions. You know, but you're only as good as your last game. You know, and when I look at the game, and there was an earlier call when somebody said that nobody had Miami winning. Well, I actually did have Miami winning. Had them on a few of my tickets, but didn't happen to win. But that's besides the point. When I looked at the game that the Dolphins played the Bills in Buffalo,
yeah,
in every way we had a chance to win the game. Besides the Zach Sealer punt penalty, and also that Tua interception in the fourth quarter, we had Buffalo. And let me tell you something. It's a divisional game, and then on top of that, we still have other divisional games to play to still be in this thing. But let me go back to the point that I'm trying to make when it comes to these fans, and I'm tired of it, man, because I'm a real fan. And all we got is bandwagon fans, and we don't have no kind of trust or energy in our team, and that sometimes causes a lot of the losing that takes place, because when we're winning, everybody shuts up. You don't hear ESPN talk. We mopped up on Atlanta, and then the whole week everybody's quiet. But the minute we're losing, everybody want to talk crap about Miami. Everybody want to talk crap. But you go back to New England's game. Devon Achane doesn't step out of bounds. We win that game. That Carolina game, there's a couple of situations that we could have won that game. Look, Jalen Phillips is out of here because there's 2 times against Lamar Jackson and also against somebody else it was the Chargers game when he had a chance to bring down your boy that we keep having a argument about
Justin Herbert.
Tua. Justin Herbert, he's sitting here diving at him instead of jumping on him how Chubb did today against against Josh Allen.
Right.
We brought violence, man. We were not on that soft crap that we were. We got rid of one of those players that was reluctant to get hurt again. So guess what? The Dolphins played exactly how we expected them to play. The real Dolphins are exactly what you saw against the Atlanta Falcons, against the Buffalo Bills. We had a couple of breaks, in the psyche of the team it was really messed up seeing half of Tyreek's leg go away. Then we see Waller go away. We got to figure some things out, and then all we get is noise from a fake fan base that doesn't have no trust in the team. Like, all you got to do is understand how football operates. This team definitely has a chance, but we have a fake fan base. We always on some bandwagon. We always losing faith in the team instead of understanding that we do have a chance. All y'all got to do is look at what they're doing and understand that there was a couple of things that could have went our way. That bull crap call that they called on Gordon against the Ravens. There's so many, and okay, when you talk about that timeout that Mike McDaniel made in that very first play, they're trying to understand what was the flag about, because when Ingle made a motion, that was not a false start. They called Ingle for a false start. So while he's trying to figure it out, they can't get a play in. So the very first play, he has to call a timeout to make sure that, listen, man, we got to come in here with the right sense of mindset to make this drive happen. And although he called that first timeout, it doesn't matter. We went down and we drove and we scored. And we showed them exactly what we were going to do today. And I felt every way that we was going to win this game because of what we did the first time against Buffalo. But I'm a real fan. I'm not a bandwagon fan. And I'm not going to have my panties in a bunch about a win that we just had today. Man, all y'all need to fall back, man. That's all I got to say.
That's what I'm talking about, Brucey. That's why we call it Game Day Uncensored. We appreciate the way you feel and you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. That's what I said. Look, if you look at the history, yeah, the record is really bad against Buffalo, but you look at how close all these games have been. You look at how we played up in Buffalo earlier this year. If it weren't for the Zach Sealer roughing the kicker, if it weren't for Tua Tagovailoa throwing that late interception, this team is right there with Buffalo. It seems like every year, and I thought about it this morning, it seems like every year the Dolphins just need to make a play here or there against Buffalo, and it seems like every time we play Buffalo, Buffalo does the bare minimum to get by. And I was like, it's going to bite them one day. It's going to bite Buffalo one day. One day, Buffalo is going to come into a Dolphins game and think, once again, oh, we'll just get by. It'll be fine. We'll do as little as possible. And Miami's going to make the plays, and they're going to get bit. And today was that day where Buffalo didn't take it serious, thought they could just come in here and walk through and get by. And the Miami Dolphins came with violence and intensity. Now, I understand the game is a play here, a play there every week, pretty much. Today, we made those plays. I like what Mike McDaniel had going. I like the way this attitude and the team was working today. You got a feeling early on that I even told Robert Grieper before even halftime, I said, this game's over. The Dolphins are going to win. Buffalo's not going to wake up. And even if they do wake up, it's going to be too late. This Dolphins team will be rolling by then. And they were rolling today. Let's celebrate it. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 104.3 FM, WQAM. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, feeling good. Big win. Got the monkey off our back. Bills, go home.
Feeling good. Season ticket holder for a long time. You're talking to Mad Mark over here, but boy, oh boy, I got to tell everybody right now, and I even got to correct you. You are 100% correct. Mike McDaniels came in with the right game plan. Hey, we've got to take the ball. We got to bottle up Allen. And guess what happened? The unsung hero that nobody's talking about on this is Weaver. That defense came out with a bunch of bums as the secondary, and they made the number 3 offense in the league look like they were JV. Nobody's talking about that. Tua makes that interception. We don't get that 3 and out. If Buffalo would have scored, I guarantee you dollars to donuts this be a different game. Anthony Weaver came out with a ragtag cast of characters and made the number 3 offense look like they were playing the number 1 defense. And nobody's talking about that. 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. Come on. With what he's got to work with in our secondary, that guy's got to be head coach.
I'll have to say this. Jack Jones got the big punch out. I thought Jack Jones played his best game of the year. What a time to do that. And can't forget Juju Brents. Man, Juju Brents looked like a world beater before he got hurt and went out of the game. He was absolutely fantastic. That secondary looks strong today.
Absolutely. This was the best defensive performance I have ever seen. He took us out of the zone. We lined up man-to-man for most of the game, and he said, I'm going to take these clowns that we've got in secondary, and I'm going to put them against the Buffalo offense. He's got big cojones, my friend. I know I'm on the radio, and I'll use that term. But
I'll tell you
come
this.
out with that,
Give the offense,
wow.
Give the defensive line credit. They stayed in their lanes. You know, they always say you got to be disciplined. They actually did it today. And Josh Allen, you could see Josh Allen had no answer for that because he couldn't get away. He couldn't run about. He couldn't do this. And the secondary, the second they saw Josh Allen try to take off, even the TV showed it. The secondary got to a man. Instead of trying to play Josh Allen's eyes or anything like that, they saw Josh Allen scrambling. The secondary, they stayed disciplined and stayed with their man and found a man running around, and it made all the difference in the world because Josh Allen had no answers today.
That was absolutely the best defensive performance we have. And what do they always say, right? What wins championships? A great defense. And they had their back for the offense. We then came out, we sat there, we settled down. Achane, dear Lord, I am so happy we didn't trade him. The offensive line started to click. We got those runs on the outside, and it started to open up easy things for Tua. And I'll give Tua credit where credit's deserved. He had a couple of great passes that were right in there, just tying them in, and he did it. But I'm telling you right now, don't forget it. This defense absolutely countered anything Buffalo had, which allowed our offense to breathe. If we're down by 7 to start that game, Tua starts getting happy feet. We start seeing ghosts on the field. The defense said, no, don't worry, guys. I got this. We were in the stands as always. We were in the Buffalo because we're on the visitor side. They're all obnoxious. And when we bottled them up on that third down and they punted the ball, that changed the momentum of the game. And then all of a sudden, when they were down in the red zone and we freaking sat there, picked the ball off, I'm telling you, I don't care if we don't win another game this season. That's worth the season ticket price right there. Seeing all these Buffalo clowns come into Miami in their crap hole Albany that nobody ever wants to visit, nobody ever talks about, and they come down to South Florida and think this is their town. Hello, Dolphin fans. Rally around that. That's what I gotta say.
We took it back today. We took it back. Miami Dolphins took it back from the Buffalo Bills, exercising all those demons over all these years. Feels good. And I will say this, for the most part, Tua Tagovailoa did look like the Tua Tagovailoa of old, the MVP candidate Tua Tagovailoa. There were some throws I know in there that were very unwarranted, but I thought everybody really did their part today. I thought we were one team on one page with one attitude and one goal, and I thought we executed it, and I thought the defense was disciplined today. And they always say if your defense stays disciplined, it makes it really, really hard on the other team. Now the question is, can they do it again? Can they duplicate it? We shall find out a week from today, 9:30 a.m. in Madrid, Spain, against the Washington Commanders. We're not done yet, though. We're going all the way to 7:30 to get you ready for the Sunday night game. Want to hear from you. Of course, in the next hour, we're going to continue to hear from you. Also going to check with my cousin, Vladimir Louison, who is at the game. He's going to give us some of the insights that happened there. Keep on calling, 305-567-0560. Back after this on Game Day Uncensored Postgame, 104.3 FM, WQAM.
has ended, and now we begin. It's Game Day Uncensored, Postgame edition. Real talk, real reaction, real opinions for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
This is Game Day Uncensored Postgame. It is the voice of Miami Dolphins fans. Truly, we want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. The Dolphins do defeat the big bad Buffalo Bills 30. That's right. 30-13 today. Made them look like a JV team, one of the callers said. And I think the last three messages we've gotten, of course, we're not just on 104.3 FM WQAM, 560 WQAM on the AM dial. Around the world, the Odyssey app. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. So you can go to 104.3 WQAM on YouTube and Twitch. The last three comments we got, I think, encapsulates what everyone seems to be feeling right now with the Miami Dolphins. One, Julicious, J. Louise L says, Fernando Mendoza, no! A lot of Dolphins fans are worried that maybe we hurt our draft equity, although a lot of the losing teams won today, so we didn't help, but we didn't hurt so much. Mary Martinson, she sent in, my God, Miami fans are toxic and never happy. You are so used to complaining and bullying players, you can't be happy with a good win. This is why players don't want to be drafted to Miami. We've heard that today. And then Alan Yamain Man sends in Nikola Jokic, meaning don't matter where you're at in the draft, as long as you can find the right player, you're absolutely fine. Tom Brady, Nikola Jokic, they weren't high draft picks, but they sure turned out to be very, very, very good. Very, very good to hear from you. 305-567-0560. Going out to Riverside, California. What's happening?
Hi, how's it going? Been a Dolphin fan since the Marino era. I thought the defense played really well. A-Chain played really hell of a game. But you guys are forgetting about Tua. Tua threw 2 picks. If you guys think he's going to take us to the Super Bowl, he will never lead us to the Super Bowl. He's an average, mediocre quarterback. If you guys think he will, you guys are delusional. I think it's time to move off Tua. Everybody else, I mean, come on, he throws little screens. Tell me when he throws the ball down the field. He never does. I don't think he has an arm. I really do think that Tua is the problem. I think this team's got a lot of talent. I think we need a quarterback. So if you guys think that he's going to take you all the way, he's going to take us all the way, there's no way in hell. I would bet everything I own that this guy won't take us to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. That's all I got to say.
I understand where you're coming from on that, and we do know that this Dolphins team has already seen changes, and there could be more changes to come, and I think a lot of Dolphins fans would say, Chris Greer, that's a step in the right direction. We are going in the right direction. Maybe the next domino to fall would be Mike McDaniel, and then maybe the next domino to fall would be Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I know there's contract implications with all that. You might have Tua next year, but I know a lot of Dolphins fans are also saying this would be a very good situation. What a lot of winning organizations do is they draft a quarterback for the future, let them sit behind a quarterback for a year and learn, and then let them step forward. A lot of great quarterbacks have done that. Patrick Mahomes most recently was one of those guys that did that. Maybe this is a situation we're in, maybe not. Tua, he had some really bad passes today. He now leads the league with 13 interceptions, but nonetheless did enough to get the win. 305-567-0560, 104.3 FM. Oh, hold up. 104.3 FM WQAM. Oh, yeah. Starships. That was fun. 305-567-05. They're celebrating. They're partying. 305-567-0560. Let's try to talk to someone. 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead.
5 touchdowns and I.
Hello, am I?
Yeah, you're ready to roll.
Oh. This is Douglas from North Miami.
Go ahead, Douglas.
Look, I just want to say that what gets lost in a lot of this, I've been a season ticket holder basically since I was born, and it's been a long time. But now I'm taking my kids to the game, and people are always talking about the future. We came in, obviously the Browns game was probably one of the lowest points in the last 30 years of Dolphins football, and you come to a game like this, and you're building the team, but you're also building the next generation of fans. And here's one of them.
That's a
what
good
are you going to say? So, it's great to see the team come together. And you got a lot of pieces there, and you see that, look, everyone wants to hate on McDaniel, but the guys aren't quitting on him. They're still playing hard. They're coming out with games like, against the Bills, against a great team, and just all corners of the game shutting them down. And it's great to see. And so maybe you pull some pieces out and you got some building blocks for the future. And obviously they still got some ways to go, but it's a great day, and that's what we should be happy about. At the end of the day, we just want to see wins.
You're absolutely right. Like my mom, Big Lynn, used to always say, if you go to a parade and all you look for is the queen, you miss the whole parade. Let's celebrate. Let's enjoy.
There you
I
go.
think we're always looking to the future. What can we do? What about the draft? What about today? It's not about the draft. It's not about the next quarterback. It's not about that. It's about the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. So often we get caught up in all this. We need to get the next Patrick Mahomes. We need to have the number 1 overall draft pick. We need to do this. How about let's win today and have some enjoyment in our lives. So yeah, I'm with it. We don't need to look to the future all the time. And I know the future is important, but all we have is today. And all we have is right now. And what we have is a big win against the Buffalo Bills, a team that has owned us, a team that is very, let's just say, has hubris when they come down to South Florida, not just because they always win, but because they bring a ton of fans. They already have a ton of fans living here. They feel as though it's their house. And today they learned you're a tourist. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 1043 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, bro? My name's Josh. What's good, bro?
Josh, what's good is 30-13 against the Buffalo Bills.
Nah, bro. Yes, that is literally, what is it, the soup du jour? I will say this. At the end of the day, they showed up today. Here's the thing. This is why I have trust issues, because the Dolphins, right when you're ready to give up on them, they show you something. They drag you right back into this toxic relationship, only for them to let you down again. I'm going to celebrate today because you got to celebrate the victories where they are. But at the same time, don't let me down next week, or don't do this and then let me down and do some stupid stuff against the Commanders or whatever it is, and we're right back to square one.
Josh, don't make me get up at 9:30 a.m. and get excited and then let me down.
Exactly. But honestly, I know you said we should always look towards the future, but honestly, if it was up to me, you got to do the organic tank, as Omar says, right? Omar says you got to do the organic tank because, listen, this is a good win, but when you're looking at those draft picks later in the year and you could potentially get a franchise-changing guy, and then you're like, well, that win really worth it? It was cool for about 24 hours, but now it's like, I don't know, like 24 hours, 10 years. What are you trying to do?
I know. That's why I think a lot of Dolphins fans right now are saying this is a bittersweet win because, like Rosie Perez and White Man Can't Jump, sometimes you win, but you really lose. And sometimes you lose and you really win. And sometimes you win and lose, but you really tie.
Literally to the T. Like I said,
I don't know how to feel, but you know what? This is my thing. When you have a winning attitude, when you have a winning culture, it permeates throughout the whole team. These guys today, at least you could take pride and happiness that they did not quit. They went out there and had some pride, and they went out there and were physical, and they were nasty, and they were the team we've wanted them to be all year. And for that, you have to be happy. And that I think that's something we can all walk away feeling better about today, no matter how you feel about what goes down the road.
Very, 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 very true. At the end of the day, they did win the game. They did what they had to do. But again, don't go winning a bunch of games because, again, I hate to say this. At the end of the day, you look at like the AFC, there's too many good teams pushing out other good teams, which are pushing out them into the wild card. Even look at KC's a wild card team right now.
Buffalo's a wild card team right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, those are there's going to be some very good teams left out this year, and you may very well catch your stride, but you can do all that just to end up in mediocrity again if you're not careful.
Josh, I know how it is, man. Being a fan of a football team or any team is kind of like dating a hot girl. Like, you love them. Maybe sometimes you don't know how much they love you. Maybe they cheat on you, but they say, oh, I'll never do it again. I promise. Everything's going to be different from here on out. And then lo and behold, they ruin your dreams again. So we'll see. All we know is we got today. We'll take care of the Commanders next week and see what happens. If they lay a stinker, we'll say, right when we're about to leave, they pull us right back in. I know, Josh, I hear you. I feel you. Sometimes I feel it coming, but 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines at 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hey, go ahead.
Am I on?
Yes.
Oh, my bad. It's Rudy from Miami. And Dan, I'm just more venting because, like you said, it's hard to be mad when you're a Dolphins fan and you win. But if we go 8-9 or 9-8, is it really worth it?
I
We
understand.
go to the playoffs and then we lose in the first game. Is it worth it? You know, we want change. We deserve change. And yes, was it beautiful to see? Of course, it's always nice to see your team beat the rivals. But at what price? You know, and it's just, you know, it's sad to say it, but I don't see anything that really changed, you know, besides just one good performance. We end up with a losing record, and this just changed our trajectory in the draft. And it's terrible to think of the draft when it's mid-season, but that's the position we put ourselves in.
So, Rudy, I want to ask you this. If the shoe would have been on the other foot and it would have been 30-13 Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Bills ran us out of our own stadium, would you feel any different or better right now?
I definitely wouldn't feel different. I mean, because of the same thing. I just, you know, I'm just ready for the change.
I understand.
Personally.
Hey, look, and
You
being
know,
a Dolphins fan, you deserve. You have been very patient. You have been through a lot that most fans haven't been through. Fuck. Whoa, man. 25 years. 25 years without winning a game in the playoffs. That you've been patient, and you know you have the right to want something different. And you're absolutely right.
And you know, and I think at least with this regime, we've seen what it's gonna bring us to. You know, I don't see any drastic changes happening now. Would I love to be wrong? Absolutely. By all means, prove me wrong. Show that these guys are potentially able to take us into a better situation. But I don't believe in that. I think we've seen what this cookie crumbles down to.
Right. I understand.
And-
Rudy, and you're probably like most Dolphins fans, like, that's really cool. You know, like today's win was big, but is there any Dolphins fan right now saying, I legitimately believe they're going to win out the rest of their games and make it to the playoffs?
Oh man, I know a couple, but you're right. It's just probably somebody drinking the Kool-Aid at the moment.
I understand, Rudy. Thank you so much for your calls. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to take calls at 305-567-0560. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back real quick. We're going to talk to my cousin, Vladimir Lewisson, who was at the game. We're going to hear how dejected those Buffalo Bills fans and how elated those Dolphins fans were leaving the stadium today. And then we're going to continue to take those calls. So keep them coming. 305-567-0560. Back after this on Game Day Uncensored Postgame, 104.3 FM, WQAM.
WQA. Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Hang with me on this one. As I'm watching the Rams up 21-0 against the San Francisco 49ers at the beginning of the second quarter, I think about the days when the Rams won the Super Bowl and how they put all their equity into winning now and how they're going to be bad for a long time because they put all their eggs in one basket and maybe it gets them a Super Bowl, which it did, but they've set themselves up for a long rebuild. Well, pretty darn good now. It hasn't been that long. What I'm saying is you worry about the now. You don't worry about later. And if you believe in your organization and you believe in the structure and you believe in the people that you have, you believe that rebuilds cannot be this long, drawn-out, terrible thing, that you can find the right players in the right places, get them there, right people, right places. Now, do the Dolphins have that? Once again, I said bear with me right though with this one.
And not to mention the Rams also have a Shula there.
There you go. A lot of people want that Shula. A lot of people want that Shula. But what I'm saying is if you can get the right people in the right places, you don't worry about the future. You worry about the now. And today, I was worried about getting beaten the Bills. 305-567-0560. We're going to get to calls in just a minute. But a guy that was at the stadium, my cousin Vladimir Louison, was there in the stadium for the Dolphins' big 30-13 win, sending Bills Mafia home very, very quiet. Vlad, first of all, I got to ask you, was it a Bills home game today?
Nope. It wasn't a Bills home game. I
Okay,
wouldn't say
good.
it was a Bills home game. I will give Dolphin fans credit. The Dolphin fans that were there at the stadium, they were loud. They were boisterous from kickoff, and you could tell that it was weird. They really wanted to win. They really wanted to win the game, and the team played like that. And their best win all season. I mean, from beginning to end, it was their best win all season. So credit to the team, and credit to the fans. The fans were very loud, you know.
I want to ask you this. You were in the locker room afterwards getting some sound, which of course we'll hear from in just a little bit. I'm sure it was a celebratory mood, but did you get the feeling that there was a lot of camaraderie and that maybe these guys have some hope that they've turned a page?
I mean, yes, there was a lot of camaraderie, and they were very happy. This was it was the happiest I've seen a locker room in probably over a year. The team, I will say this though, Dan, I give the team credit for never letting the pitfalls of the season, crack the locker room or fracture the locker room. It was always, 24 hours. We got 24 hours, whether you win or lose, and then you get over it. This team is happy. If you take away the Baltimore loss, they've won 2 out of 3.
Right.
They've been playing good football. And I know they know that they're a talented team. It's just that it just took forever. I don't know. One of the reporters asked, which was a great question. She asked, now after that, the trading deadline and, the general manager being fired, is there a little bit more are you playing with a little freedom? Is it freeing to play now? And they didn't want to say yes, but they do. It was implied that there was a little bit more clarity going on. They know what the task is, and they're ready to, take it full.
Yeah, they do seem like a team that has a lot less distractions, as was the case today, not last week. I was wondering, were there questions asked about the Chris Greer firing after the game in the locker room?
There was, when they were posed that question,
Right.
Minka said, Minka was asked the question, and Minka was like, I don't, nobody wants to be part of reason somebody loses their job. As a matter of fact, you want to be a person to be the reason why somebody get a job in the league. So I don't think anybody was going crazy or happy that, Chris Greer got let go. They understand it's a business as well. And, if you're a player that was signed by Chris Greer, you may feel like, hey, you didn't live up to your part. And that's why he's no longer the general manager. You may feel like that, but you don't have to. It's not your fault. After a certain amount of time, if the team is not winning and you're not making the right decisions, you're going to have to let go. But you can tell the team they're feeling themselves. They're feeling happy. They said that the trip to Madrid is going to be lit because you're going to this trip on winning. on a high note. And it wasn't no fluky win.
No.
This was a dominant from kickoff to the final gun.
Let's say the fourth
That was
play.
a
No.
thorough,
Let's say from the fourth play of the game until the end.
it was a thorough ass beat. Like, that was thorough.
Vlad, I want to ask you
Thorough.
this. You and I really, really worried about this when Teron Armstead retired, when Calais Campbell went back to the Cardinals. You and I on our weekly show, Sports Day, usually on Saturdays and Sundays, said, where are the leaders? Who are going to be the leaders of this team? At the week 10 point in this season, who, in your estimation, as you walk around the locker room, who's the leader?
Bradley Chubb,
okay.
Zach Sealer.
Okay.
Bradley Chubb and Zach Sealer are the leaders of this locker room right now. I don't know who the leader is offensively. I do know that they all feel Devon Achane's the best player offensively. And usually the leader would be your quarterback, but who knows? We've heard what Tua's been behind the mic. But if you're asking me who the leaders of this team right now in that locker room, it's 92, Zach Sealer, and it's Bradley Chubb.
It's always so funny, Vlad. You get the feeling every year, you don't even have to ask. There's just the one or two or three guys in the locker room, just the way they conduct themselves, the way people listen to them, the way they talk to people, they just emerge as the leaders. So you're telling at least those two guys.
And I got to add a third person there, a young leader, Brooks, Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, he looks like a leader.
Yeah, he's a leader. Yeah, you're right, Dan. You can tell, like, last season we all knew who the leaders were. It was Calais, it was Chanu, Teron. Like, those were the leaders. Usually the leaders are vets, like well-established vets, guys who've been in the league and, they've had more than one contract. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the week is gone. Everybody just has a clear mind. They know where they are. This was a different team, a different mindset. And Dan, let me tell you this. I saw Stephen Ross after the game. He was strutting.
I love it.
It was no head down. He didn't walk, but it was a strut. Like, it was a confident, I just earned $10 million, like $100 million type of strut. Even though, it was a confident strut. The whole team. Bradley Chubb was walking into the locker room saying, "You got to believe. You got to believe." And they like that. That was the mantra being said, the narrative that was being said going into the locker room after the game. Like, yes, and the crowd, when they go in the locker room, there's like the Gallagher Club, and the crowd was going crazy. The fans were actually they were high-fiving with fans. You would have thought this team was 7-3 instead of 3-7 after this game.
I do want to ask you this, Vlad. They are going to Madrid next week, 9:30 kickoff against the Washington Commanders. Was there any talk of we can continue this next week, we can duplicate this next week, or were they just celebrating?
They were celebrating, but they were all saying it's one game at a time. The one thing I can tell you, like I said, or I mentioned earlier, Dave, their whole mantra has been 24-hour rule. I mean, every team, every athlete does that, 24 hours. But they've been saying it, and I really believe that they're trying to execute that. So yeah, they're gonna enjoy it. Jacques Jones was great after the game. He was blinged out. Like, you could tell. Let me tell you the difference in the locker room, Dan. The way that they were making fun of each other when one person's being interviewed, you hadn't heard that all year. Like, they were having fun. They were having fun at each other's expense. Guys that usually don't talk were willing to talk. And they were hoping to take it one game at a time. There's still 7 games left. I don't know if they figured, if they go 7-0, they can do something. But their mindset is every week we're 0-0. The next 7 weeks, the next 7 games, we're 0-0. Well, the next 7 games, we're 0-0. And let's just try to win that week.
That's the winning attitude right there. And look, it's fun to win. It's fun for us. It's fun for them, especially.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Today was one of the weirdest days in football. Like, your team, my team, and the Dolphins, teams that were been bad, teams that are looking to be for a quarterback in next year's draft, they all won today.
The quote-unquote
Saints, Jets, and Dolphins all won today. 3
of the worst, at least record-wise, in the league. They all won today, and showed that this is a league of men that have a lot of pride, man, and have a lot of skill too, and they can get you. They can get you, man. So
they can.
We're glad to have you, Vlad. I know you're going to be on all throughout the week. Follow at Vlad2078. Enjoy the evening. We'll see you soon.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
That is Vladimir Louison, who was at the game. It must have been nice to see Bills Mafia not being so mobbing as they left the stadium. Elbow room, sorry. You're not going to sell as much beer tonight, but, you did okay anyway. Still taking your calls, 305-567-0560. Going to take a break. Come back and talk to you next. Robert Grieper, Dan Day. This is Game Day Uncensored Postgame on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Ryan Rank here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up from
We're at FM 1043, or you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Check it out now.
Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 1043 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Robert Grieper along with Dan Day. And say what you want to say about Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel. And say what you want to say about Bills coach Sean McDermott. You can say Mike McDaniel can't win against good teams, although he won today. You could say that he blops at the podium. You could say Sean McDermott, the Bills win in spite of him. The fact of the matter is he's won a whole lot of games in this league. He's won a lot of playoff games in this league. He just can't beat Patrick Mahomes. Well, get in line for that one. But Grieper, you got to be honest. Mike McDaniel outcoached Sean McDermott today.
Did he?
Absolutely. Number one, you know that Mike McDaniel had a game plan. When he took the opening kick, winning the toss, saying, we have a game plan. We're going to try to control the ball. We're going to get on third downs. We're going to convert. We're going to do this. And you even said it. What are the Bills doing?
Yeah, I think that he tried too hard, really. Because if McDermott really looked at it, you have Josh Allen out there, one of the best quarterbacks in this league, hands down, and you didn't play to his strengths. You made him a finesse quarterback out there instead of making him the brute that he is. If you would have taken off, had a lot more waggles, if you would have played on that 4th and 1, instead of being cutesy and throwing the ball there and just pounded the ball on the Dolphins, you would have ended up scoring on that drive. And it would have been a whole different game.
What's been the recipe to beat the Dolphins all season long? Run it down their throat. You've got a quarterback and a running back. They're some of the best in the league. Run it down their throat and get after the quarterback. And it seemed like they didn't follow that recipe.
Yeah,
I kept
didn't
waiting.
get it.
I was like, when are they going to just pound us into the ground?
I was making the comment to you off the air. I'm kind of wondering if South Beach did its thing to them, because that was a lackluster Bills team from the get-go.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, did South Beach help out the Dolphins
If
today?
you have pictures or if you have video or if you have evidence that Bills Mafia, not just the Bills Mafia, but the Bills, the actual players on the Bills were out and about, maybe taking a little too much for granted.
Maybe they're hanging out at the elbow room with the fans out there. I don't know.
Send it my way at Dan Day Radio on all the social medias. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 1043 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even realize I was on. I'm like, I was just on hold. I'm sorry. Season ticket holder from Long Island. We're down here from the game. We're driving back. Couple points I want to make quick. You had you had said earlier, is it a home game for the Bills? You still there?
Yeah, was it a home game for the Bills in your opinion?
Yeah. So you said it was a home game for the Bills. So yeah. So we got up and we're like, I walk up to the usher and I'm like, he's like, man, there's a lot of blue here. And I said, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And I said the only ones that can really shut them up is the team. You know, the fans can only do so much. We're here to help and root and everything. And like I said, at the end, when the team finally shut them up, we were able to yell and scream and be happy. So it was really on the team to shut the Bills fans down, because otherwise it would have been a very loud, home game for the Bills. So credit to the team for shutting the fans up, shutting those Bills fans up. Credit, and then for the fans, being there, I was quiet till the fourth quarter because I didn't believe it. I thought it was going to be, Charlie Brown.
You've been burned before.
Pulling the ball out.
Yeah.
They were going to get. They were going to. It wasn't real. So my other point that I wanted to say, the caller called up, crying about, oh, Tua, you think he's going to? These fans, the fans that are like, oh, Tua this, Tua that. If you just saw that if you have a game, you have this team, everything around you does right. Tua doesn't have to. He threw 2 picks and still beat a team with an all-star quarterback. That you scored 30 points on him, and he still threw 2 picks, which, the 2 picks, they turned out to be punts. But these fans that so caught up in these games that are like, oh, you shouldn't be happy. You shouldn't be. We got there at 9 a.m. We hung out. We have a group of people that we tailgate with. The whole game day experience. It's not just about. It's not. The game is just one part of it. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the game day experience. Enjoy the whole thing. I'm mad. There's nobody more mad than me. They've got pictures of me on the wall. They see me. I'm posted. Watch out when I'm mad. Watch this guy. But there's nobody more pissed off when we lose. But if you're just going there and you're that miserable, or you're watching the game from home and you're that miserable and you can't just enjoy this win,
right?
Then just don't turn on the TV.
Right. You can go and watch it on replay.
So I had to call up and say, I had to call up and just say, just those fans, just stop.
Yeah, it's like a Thanksgiving dinner. The turkey is the game, but the sides are all so good. The dessert is so sweet. The drinks and everything.
Yes.
It's a whole experience. And to be a fan,
Yes.
especially you who's had to travel from Long Island, you've done all the trip. You've invested a lot of time and money and heart into these games. To get a win against a rival, a division rival, and to beat them the way you beat them when they kind of waltzed into your house thinking this is just another day at the office and I don't have to do that much, and you shut them all up. It feels good.
Yes, thank you, exactly. My point exactly. I said to the Bills fans as they were walking out, I'm like, you messed up my draft pick. Thanks for doing that. Messing around with them, but we had a good time. And I was like, just don't do one thing. Don't just pull me in and lose at the end. I'm like, either you guys beat the crap out of us and we go home, but don't drag me along and lose the game. We held out and gave us a couple scares, but in the end, they did it. They played a complete game, complimentary. They had a couple mistakes, but
we all do.
Put enough around Tua. And put enough around any quarterback, anyone, and they're going to just give you enough to win a game.
Right, that's the truth. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is that when everybody does their part and everybody plays to their potential, you can cover up mistakes. But when everybody doesn't play up to their potential, 2 interceptions, didn't hurt us at all. Won the game 30-13. Doesn't make you feel great, but at the same time, you make a mistake here and there. If everybody's playing complimentary football, it's okay. You feel all right. Buffalo Bills, I really do think they walked into this one and it was too late, too little too late. They woke up way too late. And at that point, there was already too much momentum for the Miami Dolphins. I was so proud of the way the Dolphins played with physicality. They played angry. They played with pride. They played like a team that had something to prove and that had been disrespected because with the way the Bills played today, that was disrespectful. They looked terrible. Their fans were probably very upset. But I really think the Bills got lulled to sleep. And I kept thinking this. And that's why you never rule out anybody in the NFL. We talked to Vlad in the last segment. The Jets won today. The Saints won today. The Dolphins won today. It was one of those weeks. But that's why you never want to rule out a professional team because you look at the past couple of games between Miami and Buffalo, and we're a play or two away. And it always seems like Buffalo does the bare minimum to get by. And you always know you do that, one of these days, it's going to catch up to you. And today it caught up to the Bills because they probably came in, let's use as little energy as possible. Let's just get through this. Let's take our W and get moving on. And lo and behold, we smacked them in the face and did not let up. 305-567-0560, 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Doug. I'm in Hollywood, Florida.
Doug, go ahead.
And I want these, my brother's number one. I hope he's listening. I'm tired of them saying Mike McDaniels needs to go. I don't think Mike McDaniels was the problem. It was just what he had around him. And that good thing, and what I always noticed, when teams fire somebody, it seems like that team plays much better that next game. And it's been happening so long. Chris Greer was somebody I wanted them to get rid of so long. And when they got rid of him, this team came out and played a phenomenal game, something I didn't expect. I predict them to lose 31-7. So I blame myself for being stupid today on that. But like the guys say, everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon, but I can see how easy it is to jump off it because the personnel they had who was leading the team. So I think they're going to be all right. I think they just got to, I still think Tua needs to go, but I don't think the coach needs to go. The coach needs to stay there.
I thought Mike McDaniel did a great job today. I think Mike McDaniel's actually having the best season of his. I mean, he's having the best year of his career. The way he's coached and adapted and tried to figure this thing out. I thought he had a great game plan against the Bills the first time they played. I thought today he definitely had a great game plan. He outcoached Sean McDermott. Honestly, I think Mike McDaniel is growing into his role. Now, could it be too little too late? I understand. And I also think a combination, Doug, a bunch of things are happening that happened this week. Number one, sometimes change is good. Chris Greer is fired.
Every time. Yeah, you're right.
Now, you understand? Now, I understand Chris Greer getting fired. That doesn't immediately change anything other than maybe your mentality and maybe your psyche. So now the team thinks, okay, we're in a new era. This is something new. And also remember, now the trade deadline has passed. Everyone has settled down. They know where they're going to be at for the next 10 games. They're not sitting there saying, ooh, am I going to get traded? Or, ooh, is this guy next to me going to be gone? What's this team going to look like? They now have that clarity. So I think it's a new era in a way, psychologically at least. And of course it will be when we get a new general manager, but also now the team just is more settled and focused because there's no trade rumors and none of that circling around the team. And therefore, you get a team that comes out. And I think, to be honest with you, I think Dolphins came and they were, I don't know if I can say it. I'll be careful. I think they were PO'd. I think, they've been beat up by the Bills forever. They probably realized the Bills came in. You probably saw it early in the field. I don't know how it was when warm-ups, but probably looked at them and said, they're not taking us serious. Half the stadium, or maybe a little less than half the stadium, a lot of Bills fans always go to the game, but they came here. They're on a vacation. They're not on a business trip. And I think the Dolphins had some pride and said, you know what? Screw this. We're going to take it to them. You know what? If they beat us, but we're going to give it to them. And they gave it to them. 305-567-0560. Give it to me. 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead.
Hello?
Hey, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, man? This is Dylan from Kendall, man. This is a Fireman fan I called last week.
Yeah, glad to have you. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I'm part of the deep end crew, so I'm in 129. We had Bills fans all around us.
Ugh.
And let me tell you, today was a good day.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I'm not a stupid football fan. I don't think we're gonna win 7 straight and make it to the playoffs and have a first round exit. I'm not stupid. But this Chris Greer firing, I called you guys last week and told you the first thing that needs to happen is Chris Greer needs to get fired.
Well, it happened.
And sure as shit, it happened. Sorry about that. But it happened. I'm sorry about that. But it happened. And I'm very happy about that because the team seems to be playing a lot happier and a lot more energetic.
A lot freer.
Without Greer. And to me, it's crazy because we've been calling for his firing for years as fans. We knew that it was once we fired him, this team would have a little bit of pep in their step. And it's just crazy to me how something like even trading Jalen Phillips, and yes, he was a great player, but man, he missed sacks all season.
You're right.
And today, there wasn't many sacks that were missed when we did sack Josh Allen.
That is true.
When we did have a play in the backfield. There wasn't much missed. So, honestly, it was kind of a good thing that we traded him, and we got a little bit more than a bag of chips for him, which is a good thing.
3rd round pick.
And I commend the interim GM for doing that, which at least we did something. Because if we had just stayed stale all season, then next, us season ticket holders are
right.
We were fed up, And I called you guys last week, and I was pissed.
Well,
because we got embarrassed.
I want to ask you this. Let me ask you this. Maybe psychologically, these players, they saw Chris Greer get fired. It's a new era. This is the new Dolphins team, and they've embraced
100%.
that.
100%.
But being the Dolphins fan that you are, now they are in a new era. They feel great. They did great against Buffalo. You could see them going next week to Madrid and laying an egg also, realistically.
100%.
That could happen.
I could see that because for some reason the Dolphins always play down to competition.
Right. They played great today.
With Jaden Daniels being out, next thing you know, the backup quarterback's going to throw over 400 yards.
Marcus Mariota?
You know,
No, Marcus Mariota's hurt too, so it's a third-string
And,
quarterback.
and Mariota's not bad. You know, he's never been a terrible quarterback.
The Atlanta Falcons might argue that, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but he was an interim for the Falcons.
Right.
You know, he wasn't their future. You know,
Right.
but he's never been. When he was in Tennessee, he was whooping up on teams.
Yeah,
You
until Ryan Tannehill came in. Sorry, I brought up that name.
Until our quarterback, who came in with an O-line and an actual running back
And a good coach.
you know, and a good coach, you know, came in. The same thing's going to happen with Tua. I'm calling you now.
Oh no.
You know, I'm calling you now. I'm saying the same thing's going to happen with Tua. Either we keep him next year, or even after the year after that, he's gone, and whoever the new coach comes in and wants his own quarterback or whatever happens.
Right.
But what's going to happen is Tua's going to go somewhere, and even if he rests a year, just like Tannehill did, Tannehill wasn't the starter initially.
Nope.
He took over for Mariota.
Right.
He stole that job from Mariota because he was better.
Well,
he had a line.
All we got right now, it's a new era without Chris Greer. For the longest, the fans at least,
100%.
the fans have wanted Chris Greer gone. He has been gone for one game, and lo and behold, that one game, the Dolphins beat the Bills 30-13.
And the crazy thing is, I was calling earlier today. I was saying, man, you know, I've been a season ticket forever. I know how football works. I thought today we were going to get absolutely destroyed, but with what happened today, I'm like, this team isn't that bad. We need some help in the secondary. We need some help on the O-line for sure, 100%. Maybe the new GM comes in, starts, instead of the first pick being a quarterback, maybe you start stacking some O-line on him.
Francis Mallory,
you know, maybe. Why not? Why not?
I would not be opposed to that.
To me, I would stack the first 2 or 3 picks on O-line and D-line. Because Kenneth Grant hasn't done anything.
One more question for you. And if and people say, Chris Greer, what does it matter? No. When you think about another team here in South Florida that is extremely successful, which is the Florida Panthers.
Right.
What has been one of the reasons why the Florida Panthers have maintained and been as successful as they've been the past couple of years?
One, to me, it's all about positivity and not only making your players happy, but having a good locker room. You know, when players lose, that morale goes down. But, you know, when the quarterback keeps getting sacked over and over again, we saw it with Tannehill. Tannehill got sacked so much when he was with us because, again, the GM before Chris Greer and Chris Greer didn't pick O-linemen. We had no line. You know, we got rid of Jake Long in 2010 or 2011, whenever it was, who was our solid left tackle. And after that, next thing you know, it was just straight up blindside hits on Tannehill. And then everyone wanted to call for Tannehill's head. So to me, it starts with the O-line. Yes, you need a quarterback 100%. But to me, it starts with O-line. And I'm a football coach too. So I coach and I played O-line for 13 years.
Ooh.
To me, a football team starts with the line in the trenches. You know, a quarterback isn't going to change everything. We see it this year with Cam Ward. You know, Cam Ward is trash for Tennessee. You know, he's not that good, but everyone in Miami was all over him last year. And I'm a Gator fan, so, you know, DJ Lagway sucks too, but, you know, it's everyone was all over Cam Ward, but now you see him in the NFL with no line and actual athletes that are attacking him, and he's got nothing.
Yeah, that's one of those things when you've got good people around you doing good things, like the Dolphins today had good people doing good things. Everybody gets a little bit better and everything seems a little bit easier. But getting back to the whole thing, it's all about getting the right people in the right places. The Panthers got a general manager that does a great job. A general manager who came in and said, we had the best regular season of any team last year. We're going to get a new coach. A new coach that comes in and says, look, we're not going to worry so much about our regular season record. We're going to worry about the playoffs. Got a guy, Matthew Tkachuk, comes in and says, we're going to change the culture of this locker room. Tampa Bay Lightning, I hope you enjoyed the days you had when you owned us because that's over. General manager that every trade deadline comes up with miraculous trades and deals. You get those right people in place. That's how you change things. And, you know, once again, is Chris Greer a sacrificial lamb? Well, time will tell. Probably not. He probably needed to go. We probably know that. But could be a new era here in Miami, and that is exciting. And maybe this is the game, like I said. And once again, this could be pie in the sky. This could be me, hopeful Dolphins fan. But maybe this is the game 2-3 years from now. We look back and said it all changed. That week we fired Chris Greer and we beat the Buffalo Bills. We might not have won out that season, but that was the game where we saw this Dolphins organization change. That's my hope. 305-567-0560. Hope to talk to you. Let's go back to the phone lines. 104.3 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, my brother? It's Abel. How you doing today?
Where you at, Abel?
Brother, look, a couple of weeks ago, I called you up to that Thursday night game, and I was just soundless and had nothing to say. But I'll tell you what, brother, I will not take an opportunity. I will not waste an opportunity to bash and talk crap about our arch rival, the Bills.
Woo!
So whether the season sucks, whether we're having a bad, horrible season where we're 3-7, we're not going to go. I don't give an absolute damn. Because we took it to the Buffalo Bills. When was the last time we took it to them? And we should have beaten them up in Archer Park earlier this year. I don't give an absolute crap about what the score was or what the record was heading into this game. We gave it to Josh Allen. We gave it to McDermott. We gave it to Milano. That bum that he is, always talking crap. And all those Bills fans yesterday, I was at the Kings game, and there's a bunch of Syracuse fans wearing Bills hat and said, oh, we're going to go 2-0 this weekend at Hard Rock Stadium. This is New York Stadium. Oh, yeah? What happened yesterday? And what happened today? Thank you for coming down, spending all that money. Maybe the elbow room's going to use that money to remodel it a little bit. Thank you for wasting our spot. That little bar down on Coral Way, the blind spot or whatever the hell it's called, they're a Bills fan bar. I hope you had a great time. And I'm not going to allow no damn Gator fan to be calling into your hotline right now like that last caller talking about Cam Ward. Brother, you lost to Cam Ward, so you have no say into no Cam Ward bashing. Let's go, Miami. What a weekend, baby. 5-0. Inter won yesterday. The Panthers won. The Heat won back-to-back. The Kings took it to them, and the Dolphins kept it off. 305 weekend, baby. Let's celebrate. We don't have many of these.
Abel, this is a winning weekend, baby. We got everything, man. We own everything, and it's so
everything.
It's so nice. This Buffalo Bills Mafia, we taking over. We're doing this. This is Buffalo South. It's like, shut up and sit down.
Sit down. Wear your stupid blue jerseys. Walk around. Thank you for spending all that money. Oh, can I give you $80 to break a table? Can I buy that table? Screw you. Go to Costa Walmart and buy your damn table. I ain't selling you crap. I'm going to make sure you're not enjoying any single time when you're down here. Screw the Bills. Screw the Patriots. Screw the Jets. For life. I don't give a damn.
That is the way a true fan speaks right there. Abel, my man, talking. And this is all fun. This is why you have these rivalry games and you beat your chest and you shout it out and you say, hell yeah, like sit down, shut up, say all that other stuff. And now I'll add to it. Bills, you can't beat Patrick Mahomes. You can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. And now you can't beat the Miami Dolphins, at least today. Feels good. Going to take a break. Come back after this. Game Day Uncensored. Postgame. 104.3 FM. WQAM.
Uncensored on WQAM FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
The game is ended, and now we begin. It's Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition. Real talk, real reaction, real opinions for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Was it the Miami Dolphins coming out, a little extra motivation against a division rival, against a team a lot of people have going to the Super Bowl, against a team coming off a win against the Kansas City Chiefs, and saying we're going to take it to them. This is our house. We're protecting our house. We got a lot to play for. It's a new era after getting fired. Chris Grier, team that really was motivated and want to take it at the Buffalo Bills in 30-13 win? Or was it the Buffalo Bills saying, oh, it's the Miami Dolphins? It'll be all right. Their quarterback, they're kind of soft, and we're in Miami. We're in South Florida. We always win. We got this. Maybe a little bit of both. But nonetheless, Miami Dolphins get a big win today. Could be a new era. Chris Grier gets fired. That would be something. If this team rattles off with 11 wins in a row, Chris Grier's got to feel really bad because everybody called for your firing for so long. They did it, and all of a sudden everything changed. Although I don't know how it directly affects the game, like that. I know it directly affects by who he drafts and all that stuff. I don't know. But I got to feel good today. 305-567-0560. We'll continue to take your calls here on Game Day Uncensored. Feeling good for these Miami Dolphins that a lot of teams would have quit on the season. A lot of teams would have given up. A lot of teams would just be playing for that next contract or that next team or whatever. This is a team that went out there and looked like they had some pride and a whole lot of fight in a stadium that had a large amount of Buffalo Bills fans at it. But of course, the Dolphins fans were also there, very proud of these Miami Dolphins today. They seemed like they exercised a lot of demons. There's been some low points this season. The Browns last week against the Ravens, the fans with their bags on their head. Tyreek Hill out for the season with the injury. Tua Tagovailoa saying those unnecessary things after the Browns game, I want to say, throwing his teammates under the bus. Mike McDaniel yelling, screaming, trying to figure things out. There's been some high points. You beat the New York Jets, and anytime you beat a division rival, that's always fun. The Atlanta Falcons playing as well as you thought at the time the Dolphins could play, but today, right now, it really feels like, at least as we stand week 10, the high point of this season as the Miami Dolphins complete win today against the Buffalo Bills. And this is a very depleted Miami Dolphins team. They didn't even have Rasul Douglas, who is a former Bill, playing today because he was injured. But ragtag bunch of guys on the offensive line and the secondary for the defense, and they proved themselves to be very, very good. Maybe this team is playing more free. Maybe they're more relaxed. The trade deadline is gone. Chris Grier no longer here. Maybe they feel as though it's psychologically a new era. They sure played like it. And Mike McDaniel, say what you want, whether you want him here next year or not. He was the better coach today. And once again, I think he's done a good job coaching this year as far as the X's and O's and game planning and stuff like that. Now, how he's held the locker room together and motivated them, I'm not exactly sure. But it seems like he's coming into his own. And Coach Cowher, Bill Cowher, said during the halftime, the guys were talking about it, and they said, Mike McDaniel's that kind of guy that's nice, but sometimes you can't be the quiet and cool in the storm. Sometimes you have to be that storm. I don't know what Mike McDaniel is going to do going forward, and it's hard to kind of change your spots. A leopard doesn't change its spots, but I think Mike McDaniel realizes that you can still be the player's friend, but you can also still be somewhat stern. And maybe he's finally kind of catching that balance that just because I yell at you doesn't mean that I don't care about you. He's maybe trying to adjust his style a little bit. Is it too little, too late? We shall wait and see. Have the dominoes begin to fall? We shall wait and see. Does this game mean anything at all? Once again, that's why we play. Robert Grieber, you've been a lifelong South Floridian. You have followed this Dolphins team for your entire life. Once again, as great as we are today, I always say, you're never as good as your best game. You're never as bad as your worst game. And I know Dolphins fans are saying the exact same thing. I could see the Dolphins next week in Madrid, 9:30 a.m. kickoff. Tune in here. I could see them going in there against the not so great, at least this year at this point, Washington Commanders team without Jaden Daniels, and going in there and putting together a complete game and finding a way to win. I could also see getting up at 9:30, maybe having that breakfast beer, getting excited and saying, man, the Dolphins looked so good last week. If they can just kind of bottle that up, and them go in there and laying an absolute stinker.
Very easily on that one. But I think the point is made is that, number one, they've won 2 other last 3 games. So that is something there.
And they outplayed, I mean, once again, that's consolation prizes, but they outplayed Baltimore that first half. But that doesn't count.
And as we all know, it's the result that counts, not. And they have had lots of games this year where they were close enough to win and did not put it over the top. Now they're at the point of, and to be honest, I'm kind of with most Dolphin fans, is it's too late at the point of this season to make up for what you've done already this season.
Right.
And that's where the point is that you kind of have to look at what can we take from this season moving forward to get us to where we need to be. And that's where I'm looking at, is that a guy like Juju Brent's out there who played an amazing game until he got injured. Where has he been? Why wasn't he out there in the secondary beforehand? Because we all saw what happened when Bonner got in the game. That's problem one. You have other pieces, like they just figured out Zeke Biggers, we're going to give him reps now. Why weren't you doing that from the beginning of the season? You know, you knew that you weren't able to stop the run for weeks. And going back to what you said earlier about the Bills' game plan, the whole league knew they couldn't stop the run, and you went away from it. I don't understand that, but what I'm looking at is moving forward, you have pieces on this team that you need to find out what you have and what you don't have. So then you know what you need to get in the offseason. We already know they're in cap hell going into the offseason. They're going to have big problems re-signing members of this roster and filling out the roster next year. But we know also the younger the player is on your roster, most likely they're going to come with a cheap price tag, so you will be able to keep the younger rookies from this year who are going to be second-year players next year and should be the building blocks for your future, ideally. So that's what I'd like to see. But I look at, going against the Commanders next week, and with Jaden Daniels not there, I think it's Mariota going to be quarterbacking. You know, you look at it, it should be a win. But as we all know, the Bills thought that today was going to be a win as well.
They played like they thought they were going to win. Like they thought they were just going to be given a win. And the Dolphins, let's be honest, we're jaded. We're hurt. We've been hurt by the Dolphins before.
Yep.
The Dolphins gave us plenty of reasons to believe they'd be the Dolphins from the opening. They win the coin toss, we will receive. Kind of seems like, oh, maybe they're scared to let Josh Allen have the ball. Then they have the false start before the first snap, the timeout because they were arguing and didn't have time to get the play in. Then the interception on the third play of the game, and you're like, oh my goodness, this
Here
is going to be
Dolphining again.
Another one of those. But then you miss the extra point after the Jalen Waddle touchdown. That 38-yard touchdown, you're like, it's 13-0. That extra point that we missed, that's going to come back to haunt us. Riley Patterson, what have you done? James Cook is running up and down the field, but Jack Jones punches the ball out. You feel like, okay. Then the fourth quarter starts. Oh, no, actually the second half. Bills are just driving down the field. You're like, oh, we're going to lose the 16-point lead. But Melifonwu gets the interception. I mean, let's be honest, Josh Allen threw it right to him. But then they score Keon Coleman with about 12:30 left in the game. It's 16-6. You're saying, oh, man. And you look like they're about to get a 2-point conversion. Minka Fitzpatrick stops it. Not done yet, though. You get the big run to make it 23-6 from Devon Achane. But then Jackson Hawes catches one. It's 23-13 with 3:36. And you're thinking, Josh Allen has that magic, and the Dolphins have that not magic. But no, shut the door. Another big Achane run, and it's lights out for the Buffalo Bills. A lot of chances for the Dolphins to be the Dolphins today, and it didn't happen. The two Tua interceptions didn't cost us anything.
They did not cost a single thing, and it was nice to see out there that you had some adversity that the Dolphins came back from. You didn't see that a lot this year. You saw that the team did not quit on McDaniel.
No, they didn't.
They haven't quit on Tua. They have both of their backs. And it's nice to see out there. You got leadership pieces on the defense. I don't know about on the offense right now.
Right.
But you look at that moving forward, and you have pieces there where you don't have to dramatically destroy everything. You just need to build through the draft, which has been problematic with the previous general manager. Hopefully in the future you could get there. Maybe the pieces that they drafted this year actually come through. I mean, Grant, not there yet. Savanaya, not there yet. Marshall has been playing when he's been healthy. Trader's been playing when he's been healthy. It's been helping out there. It's just, Phillips has been in there as well. Biggers now is in there. That's something that I'd like to see moving forward. Is I like to see these younger players spending more reps on the field than they are on the bench.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And there's going to be a learning curve. So I hate to be like this, you do have to be somewhat patient with them. And you're seeing maybe they're in the second half of the season, you might see some really big things from them. Another thing is for the people that were worried that these guys were going to quit on the team and quit on each other and quit on Coach McDaniel. I don't think anyone had any quit in them today. And one guy who everyone says, oh, back again. He doesn't want to be here. He wants to be traded. Minkah Fitzpatrick looked like a man that wanted to be here and wanted to play for the Miami Dolphins. He made some big plays on that 2-point conversion stop. He made some big plays throughout, some breakups. Minkah Fitzpatrick, got to give him credit for all that's quote unquote been said about him. Played like a man today.
Oh, his heart definitely showed out there today. We know on his previous run here, he did quit on this team. We know that for a fact.
Didn't like the setup.
I mean, we knew that. Went to Pittsburgh, came back, and now it's showing that he's like a man on a mission now. Hey, I'm coming back here, and I'm coming back here to show that Pittsburgh was wrong to trade me back here, number one. And number two, I'm playing for that next contract right now. And he's playing for it.
So that much maligned defense that was 30th ranked of 31 teams in the NFL allowed just 90 yards in the first half, did not allow a point until the 12:36 mark in the fourth quarter. Punched out 2 fumbles, interception. Josh Allen did have 300 yards of passing, but for the most part, made the Buffalo Bills look like they had not that much of a clue. So kudos to the defense. When they do bad, we let you know they did bad. When they do good, they let you know they did good. Kudos to Sean McDermott for not just trying to just run the ball down the throat, which every other team does. But what can I say?
I mean, that's the one thing I never understand is when coaches think that they know better than anybody else. If you see the blueprint out there every week, and it's a copycat league, as we know,
right?
Once you see something that works for one team, the next team tries it, and it just keeps going until you're able to stop it. Have the Dolphins shown anybody that they were able to stop it before this week?
No.
So I don't understand, especially when you have Cook back there and you have Josh Allen. And
your passing game wasn't working that well, to be honest with you.
Well, and this is even before Kincaid went down.
Right.
You still had threats out there. And why they didn't use Josh Allen as more of a multifaceted threat, I didn't understand that whatsoever.
I think it's because the Dolphins, they stayed disciplined in their lanes when they rushed. I don't think they let him, pick you apart like, they had a game plan.
Well, they tried that, but I'm just saying is that I don't know if the Bills even tested it is where I'm kind of at.
I mean, if I was Sean McDermott, I'd have been like, first down, James Cook. Second down, James Cook. Third down, if we need to pass, figure it out, Josh Allen. That would have been my game plan.
And the thing is that I thought the blueprint going into this game was because we all know the Bills receivers aren't going to beat you. They're not all world receivers there. But where they beat you is with their tight ends, the running game, and with Josh Allen and the things that he could do with his feet and getting outside the pocket. The issue is that the Dolphins weren't even tested on that. And that's why I didn't understand is that if I was going into that game, I would have said, I'm playing smash mouth football and I'm going in there until you can stop me. I'm going to wear out your defense, and that's going to be in the end of the game.
Give credit to Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel said, ooh, what's working? Devine Achane. Ooh, Jalen Waddle is cooking a rookie. He went back to the well and back to there are no cheap wins in this league. You don't get points for doing what others can't do. You get wins. That's all they count for. 305-567-0560. Let's go back to the phone lines. 1043 FM WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's TJ on a mobile.
TJ, what's happening?
Hey, I'm enjoying therapy tonight. I enjoy therapy with you no matter what, win or loss, because I love you, Dan. You run the best spa and therapy in town after Dolphin games. So
thank you so much.
You got to give the good with the bad today, and the good, there was plenty of it. I think they came out like a team that was on the verge of, we better show, because we don't know where we're going to be anymore, because they saw their guy who picked them is gone, and their coach is on a hot seat, and it trickles down to, hey, we better perform. And it looked like they had a little bounce in their step from the get-go, and I give Coach McDaniel credit where credit is due. They definitely came out a better team in this football game. They came out and they played as if they were prepared. There were things that there were glaring mistakes. I'm not saying there wasn't,
of course,
but in a big but, they persevered through all the negativity and all the stuff, and maybe that Chris Greer thing was a big sigh of relief in a lot of ways. Who knows? It definitely woke up some echoes, and it definitely got a little fire in the bouncer stuff. I like this attitude. I like the call up. We didn't win anything. We're 0-0. We got another game this week.
That's right. We got to go to Madrid.
Like,
TJ,
I love it, guys.
TJ, a little bit of adversity, a little bit of not so much kumbaya and holding your hand. Sometimes people react to that. So maybe always being somebody's best friend or not, maybe going in there and saying, oh, yeah, by the way, we just fired our general manager. Oh, yeah, by the way, we just traded Jalen Phillips. Oh, yeah, by the way, Mike McDaniel's not going to hold your hand as much anymore. He's going to cuss you out every once in a while. And you know what? If you don't like it, you can get out of here. Maybe the guys reacted to that. We as human beings are like that in a lot of different ways. Maybe this team, it's a new era where they now realize it's not this, oh, it's okay, everything's fine. It's look, we got to do this. And they responded to adversity.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying next week could be different. Nope. We all know it could. That's
disclaimer.
Right. Real quick disclaimer. But I will say this, Danny. I know you noticed this in the game. McDaniel was a different person.
Yeah.
He was on top. He was cussing at the refs. I saw it. He was blasting them. There were some bad penalties we had. No doubt about it. We had some bad penalties on our end. But there were a few that I'm shaking my head going, yeah. And you know what? McDaniel didn't sit there and pretend he was talking to somebody upstairs. Did you see it? Did you see it? He was on there in their face, giving them the mouth like he should have given them. And I like the fire. I like a little fire going on. Hey, let's just try to keep it carrying over. Look, in every reality world, we're not going to have a tremendously successful season. But if we can show that there's turns and things that can be done, and McDaniel focuses, he might save himself for the next guy, at least for a little bit. We'll see what happens.
And like I tell everybody, TJ, yeah, I agree with this. TJ, championships aren't won overnight. You don't just wake up the next day and change a few things and you win championships. Championships are built. It comes with this attitude, maybe figuring a few things out with a win against the Bills today. Maybe Mike McDaniel adjusting his attitude a little bit. Maybe at the end of this year, after Chris Greer's been fired, this team rattles off a few wins here and there and starts saying, oh, wait a second, if we do this, or we have this type of attitude and we come in and do this, that helps us. Then they can evaluate the team a little better. Then maybe you get a new general manager that maybe can make some good draft picks and make some good trades, and then see a formula that might work and things start getting figured out. Then next year you built on this back half of the season. Next year you have a good season. You build on that. You build on that. You build on that. That's what I tell people. It doesn't happen overnight. People just want to say, Kansas City drafted Patrick Mahomes and look at him now. That is a long time coming. Kansas City didn't go to a Super Bowl for 50 years. They got Andy Reid. They got Travis Kelce. They got what's his name, Spiriano on defense for the defensive coordinator. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got Isaiah Pacheco. It's a process, and people don't want to believe that. But that's why I say wins are very important, whether you feel as though 3-7 means absolutely dog crap or not. This could be the beginning of the process, and that's what I'm hopeful for.
Sounds good. Hey, Dan, one last thing I'm going to leave you with, and it's just for fodder and fun, okay? I don't want anyone to take this to heart. What would you say about Tua for Kyler?
For Kyler Murray. Whew. That is an interesting one, TJ. That is an interesting one. That's a different show for a different time. Some people think Tua's a bum. Some people think Kyler Murray is a bum. I am in the camp of I think they're both good quarterbacks. I just want to see more greatness out of them. They're pretty even right now to me. But I mean that in a good way. Robert Grieper, I mean that in a good way because I'm a fan of both of them. I think they're both really good.
Me as a guy who depends upon his wheels with injuries on his wheels right now.
Right.
That kind of worries me.
Yeah. Good question.
And especially when you're getting benched for Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
That kind of worries me as well.
And they're both making around the same amount of money. So that'll also kind of make things even if you would do a straight up trade. They are both in organizations that, let's just put it nicely, are both trying to figure things out.
And also, do you want another quarterback that's not durable?
And that can't see over the line. I get it. There's a lot of, that's a tough debate right there. I'm glad TJ brought it up. I'll have a few PBRs tonight after I go to Jensen's liquor store and see Manny and kind of try to figure that one out. But we're going to chew the fat on that one another day. Maybe I'll talk about that as the week goes on. But up next, I want to get into some stats and facts and kind of see how our Miami Dolphins did, how the Buffalo Bills did, and why a 30-13 victory was in the cards for your Miami Dolphins with Robert Grieper. I am Dan Day. This is Game Day Uncensored Postgame on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
What a great day to be a Miami Dolphin. A 30-13 thorough whooping of the Buffalo Bills. Seemed like the Buffalo Bills came in thinking, we're the Buffalo Bills. You're just going to give us a victory. And it seemed like the Dolphins came in with a chip on their shoulder and played like it. Physical, nasty, angry, aggressive, sharp. I'll even say that. Sharp is another word I'd use for the Dolphins today. Outside of those first 3 plays of the game, I thought it was going to be an absolute train wreck with clown show on the side. But no. After they got going, their second drive, 92-yard drive, 12 plays for a touchdown to Malik Washington. Then a 4th down stop, playing complimentary football in that first quarter. Proud of those Miami Dolphins, and they just kept it going. Jalen Waddle bombed, making it 13-0, although they missed the extra point with Riley Patterson. That's okay. Zach Sealer gets his first sack of the year. You know, he felt relieved about that one. Melifonwu gets the interception, stops the drive in the third quarter when you're thinking the Bills are about to bill and the Dolphins are about to dolphin. Minka Fitzpatrick stops him on the 2-point conversion. It's only 16-6, not 16-8. Psychologically, big deal right there. Tua did through 2 interceptions, which was kind of Josh Allen fumbling, James Cook fumbling. Their best players, unlike the last game, costing their team. You know, Zach Sealer and Tua kind of cost us the game up in Buffalo. This time, roles were reversed. Josh Allen and James Cook fumbling because they were trying to extend plays. You know, they always say, get what you can get and get out. They did not listen to that because, once again, they said it's the Dolphins. We can do what we want to do. Nope. And Devon Achane was just the man. So let's get into some of those stats. Let's talk about Devon Achane. By far, head and shoulders. Right now, I'll say it, the best player on the team, both sides of the ball. Now, the defense deserves a lot of credit, but Devon Achane, when you need help, you go to Devon Achane. 22 carries, 174 yards, and 2 TDs on the ground, almost averaging 8 yards a carry, some big breakout runs, but he also did it in the passing game. 6 receptions, leading all players in receptions on the Dolphins, 51 yards. So put all that together, that's over 200 yards of total offense just alone for Devon Achane. Tua Tagovailoa did what it took to win this game. There were points in the game where he looked very, very sharp. There were points in the game where he looked like he wasn't using his brain nor his arm. Those 2 interceptions, that first interception trying to throw it downfield, that was ugly. And then that other interception that he threw in the fourth quarter, that was not very pretty, just lofting it up there. And that was an easy one for the interceptions, kind of making you go, But for the most part, accurate, 15 for 21, 173 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. Not much to write home about on the ground. Like I said, Devon Achane, he did all the work. Jalen Wright had that one big 14-yard run, but that was it for the day. 5 carries, 17 total yards. Alec Ingold had that big 3rd down conversion, 1 carry. It's only his 2nd carry of the season. 6 yards. Malik Washington, 1 carry, 4 yards. Tua Tagovailoa had -1. That's the kneel down. And Ollie Gordon, the second, 1 carry for 3 yards. Of course, he is banged up. Jalen Waddle in the receiving category. Like I said, I think we can officially now say Jalen Waddle is a deserving WR1 in this league now that Tyreek Hill is out and questionable what could be going on in the future. Jalen Waddle worked a rookie cornerback from the Bills, and Mike McDaniel realized that. 5 receptions, 84 yards, and that 1 big touchdown. Gary Dulcich, 1 reception, 22 yards. That was a big tight end catch. Malik Washington, 2 receptions, 9 yards, and his 2nd touchdown of the year. And then maybe it was a catch, maybe it wasn't. It goes down as a catch. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 1 reception, 7 yards. That was for a 1st down. That was a very good catch, if it was a catch. And Buffalo did try to challenge it, but Mike McDermott, you got to be quicker than that. Can't throw the flag as we're snapping the ball. Not our fault. I think they would have upheld that it was a catch, Creeper. I really do think that because there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it.
Yeah, I didn't see a single visual of that showed that it was even reversible.
Let's put it this way. There wasn't enough evidence to reverse it. But it probably wasn't a catch. I'm just saying, Let's be real. No, nonetheless, Nick Westbrook-Akine, that was it was an amazing catch because it should have been intercepted, and he kept his eyes on the ball and got it going. Minka Fitzpatrick had one of his best days, in his Dolphins version 2.0 career. 6 tackles and that big stop. I mean, what a stop on the 2-point conversion, which could have made it 16-7, but instead made it 16-6. Jordan Brooks has just been absolutely fantastic this year. 6 tackles with 6 assists, some big stops. And he's one of those guys that if he gets you in his grasp, you're getting tackled. There are no sliding out of his tackles. Tyrell Dotson, once again, those are the Bang Bang brothers that are always around the ball. Tyrell Dotson, 5 tackles, 4 assists. Julius Brents, we really like Juju Brents. 6'3" frame, big guy, played great today, recovered a fumble, 5 tackles, couple pass breakups, an assist. And I thought Jack Jones had his best game as a Miami Dolphin. 3 tackles, 3 assists, broke up some passes. Only had 1 pass interference call today, but it didn't cost us because they got a first down on and they declined it. But Jack Jones had the big punch out on James Cook, which was a huge momentum changer. Bradley Chubb got a sack today. Kenneth Grant was in on some plays. I thought Zeke Biggers got a tackle and an assist. That's one of those late pickups that we had. Willie Gay had a big sack in the game. And then Zach Sealer, he got his first sack of the season. Maybe the floodgates will open after that. Malafonwu, always have trouble with that. Had that big interception that stopped the drive that began the second half and made you start saying, this is the Dolphins' day. This is the Dolphins' day. When it comes to the kicking game, Grieper, there was some good, there was some bad. I'll give you the bad first. Riley Patterson missed an extra point. Oh, that's not good. But the good, 46-yard field goal. That is good.
Is Jason Sanders coming back anytime soon?
Might be stuck with Riley Patterson for a while. Jake Bailey has been a fantastic. Jake Bailey might make the Pro Bowl this year. I'm not going to lie. His punts have been amazing this year. 3 punts, 153 yards, 2 of those 3 inside the 20 for a 51-yard average on his punts. Once again, you don't want the best player on your team to be the punter, but it's been one of those seasons. Today, though, he wasn't the best player on the team. It was, of course, Devon Achane. And also, you got to give it up to the defense. I don't know, we'll talk about it as the time goes on, but Jordan Brooks has just been unbelievable. Leads the league in tackles, by the way. Once again, that could be a really good thing or bad thing. Josh Allen looked flustered, did not look like himself today. Was it some of the play calling? Was it some of the play calling that the Dolphins did? I thought they schemed it up perfect. Stay in your lane, stay disciplined. Don't let Josh Allen break a big one. And then when Josh Allen starts scrambling and running all over the place, he did have a couple of those great little scramble, run around, crazy plays. But if you're a secondary guy, don't even look at Josh Allen. Just get to your guy or get to a guy around you. And you saw Josh Allen trying to work his magic and then go, oh, nobody's open. James Cook, mundane day for him. Probably a day you prefer to forget. Coming back home here to South Florida. 13 carries, 53 yards, but he had a big fumble. Jack Jones, whoopsie, he got you. Josh Allen, 4 carries, 31 yards. I don't know. That tush push for them is dangerous. We could not stop that to start. This is how bad the game got. Mitchell Trubisky got in the game. I'm not even going to give you a stat line because it's all garbage if Mitchell Trubisky gets in the game. Nobody really killed you even receiving. Khalil Shakir, he had 7 receptions, 58 yards, kind of held him in check. Keon Coleman, 3 receptions, 46 yards, and that 1 big touchdown. Dawson Knox, who's been a Dolphins killer in the past, 3 receptions, 37 yards. Dalton Kincaid did get hurt. He pulled his hamstring. He looked like he was going to have a big day, but not so much. 2 receptions, 37 yards. Like I said, he kind of limited in that game. Jackson Hall has also got a reception, 26 yards, and 1 touchdown. Clean sheet for the Dolphins offensive line. Once again, we give you credit where credit is due. We let you know when you make mistakes. No sacks allowed by the Miami Dolphins offensive line. So, got to call them out. Jonas Avianaya, you did all right today. I can't complain. Aaron Brewer, you're fighting. We love you. You're good. Thank you so much for keeping our quarterback upright. Tua did throw those 2 interceptions, so those were not pretty. And I guess maybe Grieber, the only thing, and I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer, is if you're a Dolphins fan, you do have to start get worried about, does Tua even have the arm to go down the field anymore?
You're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it. They're not even, and when they try, it's not usually a good result.
Although the other thing I'm wondering is, do you have anybody that you really trust to go deep?
Jalen Waddle.
Other than him?
No, not so much. But Jalen Waddle did catch that 38-yard pass.
Right. And that's the thing, is that you really don't have, other than Waddle, somebody who's going to break one deep, who has the ability to do so. So, I'm kind of wondering, because you're seeing Tua's now, mind you, it ended up becoming pretty slick out there, during the game. And we saw a couple of those that just slipped right out of his hands there. And that was kind of scary watching that out there. But you look at it and you haven't seen a deep ball thrown by Tua. How many weeks has it
with
been?
much success? Yeah, that was one of the saddest things. A quarterback that's oftentimes Tua compared to is Drew Brees. Drew Brees' final season with the New Orleans Saints had one of the contending teams, one of the best teams in the league. And I hate to say it, the really only problem they had is Drew Brees' arm was done. And in a playoff game against Tampa Bay, who eventually went to win the Super Bowl, it was sad. They subbed Drew Brees out because they wanted to run a flea flicker. And they didn't say it, but they subbed Jameis Winston in because they knew Drew Brees couldn't throw the deep ball. And Jameis Winston, sure enough, threw a bomb. Hopefully, Tua is not in that territory, but his deep passes, as of late, have not been exactly beautiful, but we're celebrating. 30-13. Tua looks sharp enough today. I have no problem with that. Devon Achane is a star in this league. Our defense for today exercised some demons and exercising the biggest demon, beating the Buffalo Bills for the first time in a long time. Not just here in South Florida, but just in the NFL. Feeling good. We're going to go around the NFL and see what else happened in the league. I'm telling you, today was a good day to be a bad team. We'll discuss that next here on Game Day Uncensored on 104.3 FM WQAM.
Now, let's get back to the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
The score we care about here in South Florida, 30. That's right, 30-13. Miami Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills. And for how long the Bills fans have been able to hold over their head that they own us? Well, for a little while, we got you. And I know there's a lot of Bills fans that live down here permanently, and there's a lot of Bills fans that visit every year because it is way the hell better to be here in South Florida than in Buffalo. And that's not a shot at Buffalo. That's just the truth. Look, you admit our weather is better, and you admit you like to come, and you got to admit a lot of Dolphins fans don't make the trip up to Buffalo. Just saying. Nonetheless, we get to hold that over you a little bit.
I just remember Jim Manich when he used to call the games for the Dolphins. He used to always say every single time he go up to Buffalo, he would go right up to the front desk of the hotel and say, "Give me a room without a view."
But yep, that's what we do when we win and lose games. You held it over us for a long time. We took it for a long time. Now we're going to give it to you a little bit. Let's go around the league, see what some of the scores are in the NFL. Currently in action, the Rams were up 21-0 on the 49ers. I thought the game was over. Now the Rams are clinging to a 28-20 lead with 11 minutes left in the game. The Lions, if you were worried last week that maybe they're having some problems, the Vikings kind of took it to them. No, the Lions are still the Lions. Yeah, 35-16 over the Commanders, who are the opponent of the Miami Dolphins next Sunday morning in Madrid, Spain. Commanders having their issues because, well, they don't have one of the best players in the game in Jaden Daniels. They've got Marcus Mariota. He went 11 for 16, 153 yards, and 1 touchdown, and they're going into the fourth quarter right now in that game. Also, at the end of the third quarter, Cardinals-Seahawks. Now, without looking at the score, you're probably going to say, oh my goodness, the Seahawks are probably running all over the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett. You would be right. The Seahawks are running all over the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett. Seahawks lead that game up in the great Northwest, 38-15. One of the crazier games of the day. The Texans getting stomped by the Jaguars. Thought the game was over. Stop paying attention to it. Texans were down by multiple scores. I think something like 20 points. Don't worry, they came back and won the game 36-29. Trevor Lawrence, you had a chance to earn that $50 million, drive your team down the field, make a field goal. You did really absolutely nothing. And oh, by the way, Jaguars are in field goal position once they cross the 40-yard line, basically, with little kicking. He could probably make a 70-yarder inside with the game on the line. Nope, didn't even get him in position. Turn the ball over. Texans score on the final play of the game, 36-29. The Bears ended up being the Bears. They were losing most of the game to the Giants, but then the Giants realized, wait a second, we're the Giants. Let's go ahead and give this game away. They were playing very well against the Bears. Bears, don't look now. They got something cooking, 6-3. Caleb Williams, 20 for 36, 220 yards, 1 touchdown. You're probably wondering, what did Jackson Dart do? Jackson Dart, not too shabby himself. 19 for 29, 242 yards through the air. And, of course, you know he's going to do it with his legs, too. 6 carries, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Hey, you don't need the number 1 overall pick to get a good quarterback in the draft. I'm just saying, Dolphins fans. Just saying. Vikings, Ravens. Oh, yeah. Speaking of teams that realize who they are after a while, Ravens said, wait a second. Wait, what's going on? We're the Ravens. Lamar, get healthy. Let's get going. Ravens beat the Vikings 27-9. You want to know how Lamar Jackson did? Did what he had to do. 17 for 29, 76 yards, and 1 touchdown. On the ground, 9 carries, 36 yards. Derrick Henry, not the greatest day for him. Still a pretty good day for everyone else. 20 carries for 75 yards. J.J. McCarthy, the Rook, he's been pretty good so far since coming off of the injury. Was he injured? Was it, Kevin McConnell saying, just take a deep breath. 20 for 42. That's not that great, but 248 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But, yeah, you just look at how teams handle things, like the whole Kyler Murray situation. He's coming back. Jacoby Brissett starting. Now he's back on the IR. Instead of just saying, he's hurt, he's on the IR. Maybe the Vikings said, McCarthy, you're not playing very well. You're young. You're impressionable. Let's just say you're hurt for a little bit and give you a little rest. Maybe they're not. Patriots, goodness, once again, the Patriots. We keep waiting for them to digress and digress and digress. And it looks like Mike Vrabel, we know he's a for real coach. I don't know why the Tennessee Titans fired him. That was a mistake. We know that by now Drake May, playing at a very high level, might be the real deal. They played a team that is a pretty big deal, the Buccaneers in Tampa. The Patriots come down to Tampa and win 28-23. Of course, we'll be playing both of those teams later on this year. So buckle up. You never know. Some days you get an effort like today. Hey, some days you get an effort like the Baltimore or the Browns game. How did Drake May do? Do it kind of what Drake May does. 16 for 31, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Baker Mayfield, 28 for 43, 273 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Don't look now, but the New England Patriots are 8-2. 8-2. That puts them ahead of the Bills. Plus, they have the head-to-head. Bills were hopeful at the end of the day that if the Patriots lost and they won, which they expected to, obviously, that they'd be back in first place of the division. Nope, sorry. Now let's get to the part of the day where it says the teams that have bad records and that aren't expected to win and the teams that aren't quote-unquote good, it was a good day for them. Well, we already told you, the Miami Dolphins playing the Buffalo Bills. Why watch? The Bills got this. Bills definitely thought that. Of course, the Dolphins, once again, they win 30-13. The New Orleans Saints, only 1 win on the season against the New York Giants. They're playing the Panthers in Carolina. The Panthers just beat the Green Bay Packers. No way. My dude Giuseppe told me when I was leaving the apartment today, the team's got a chance to win today. I said, yeah, right. He goes, no, seriously. Saints win in convincing enough fashion against the Panthers, 17-7. What is up with that? Now you're saying, okay, well, Saints won, Dolphins won. What are you going to tell me next? Another crappy team wins? No, not a crappy team. The crappiest of teams wins. The Jets, they beat another crappy team, though. They have a good defense. The Browns. Jets beat the Browns 27-20. Justin Fields, he tries to stay in the positive yardage passing every game. And every game, he gets very close to not, but he did it today. 6 for 11. Oh, it's a vomit. 54 total yards. Oh, that's a vomit. Some quarterbacks have that in one pass. Justin Fields had that in one game. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Dylan Gabriel, not much better. I'm not super impressed by him, and I know he's a rookie. You got to give him time, but still. 17 for 32, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Both teams now 2-7. Grieper, you said that if the season were to end today, the Dolphins would hold the what?
7th pick.
7th pick. Okay. The Colts, the Falcons. Once again, I tell you, trash organizations do trash things. The Falcons were definitely the better team against the Colts. All the Colts had going was Jonathan Taylor. And then the Colts pick up what good teams do. So let's ride the hot hand. Started giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor, leaning on their defense, found a way to tie the game, and then they go into overtime and win 31-25. That's across the pond in jolly old England. And then, of course, Thursday night, the Raiders couldn't find a way to beat the Broncos. Broncos, one of the best teams in all the league, 8-2 right now. Gives you a little scoreboard update on everything that's going on. We're not done yet today, though. Coming up after us at 7:30, going to be the pregame for the night game at 8:20. You get Steelers and Chargers. That should be a whole lot of fun. A lot of storylines connecting them to the Dolphins. Of course, the Steelers, we sent Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith over there. We got Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Chargers, Justin Herbert. Chargers beat us earlier this year at the very end of the game. We get the Steelers on a Monday night game in cold, probably nasty weather in Pittsburgh, December 15th. Should be a fun one on Sunday Night Football. And tomorrow, it's going to be a slobber knocker. Monday Night Football, Eagles, Packers. I know Trevor, who works with us, he's a huge Eagles fan. Grieper, who's working with us right now, he owns part of the Packers. Whoo! Will you get the good Jordan Love? The Hall of Fame worthy Jordan Love? Or will you get the Jordan Love where you go, does he know how to play football? Did he really throw an interception into triple coverage on the 1 yard line with his back up against the goal? You get the good Jordan Love, you got a good chance of winning that game. Actually, you're going to win that game. You get the bad Jordan Love, Eagles could roll. Fly, Eagle, fly. We get the good Jordan Love tonight, tomorrow night.
I'm hoping for the good Jordan Love tomorrow night. And the thing is that, as we all remember, Brett Favre was a gunslinger. He throw great passes, and then he throw some of those passes. You're like, you threw it into triple coverage. What are you doing?
All time.
Some of those he made, some of those he didn't.
He has the dubious NFL record for most interceptions ever of a quarterback. Yes, indeed. So should be an interesting one tomorrow night. Not to get too much, and I know we're a Dolphins program, but Packers, this is a big year for them. If you are superstitious, a lot like I am, this is the year you should bet on the Packers winning the Super Bowl because Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre all won the Super Bowl when they turned 27 with the Green Bay Packers. Just a week ago, Jordan Love turned 27 with the Packers.
And, of course, the worst team in the league did not play this week.
Who's
the
the worst?
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward.
Who currently hold the number 1 pick if they finish out the season the way they are.
Cam Ward's sitting in an ice bath right now, and you're like, oh, when'd you get in the ice bath? After the last game. He's thrown some wonderful passes, but he has got not a lot to work with, hence why they are currently the worst team in the NFL. Cam Ward, hold the fort. Hold up as much as you can. The cavalry's coming. Not this year. Maybe next year, but the year after. Watch out. You can make it. You're good, though. You're good, right? You got this? Cam, you got this, right? Cool. We'll criticize you along the way for being the number 1 overall pick, too. We won't put anything around you. We won't give you any weapons. We won't give you anything, but we'll criticize that. Yeah, you're cool.
Yeah, if he can make it to the 3 years from now.
Yeah, that man is under duress. That's to say the least. All right, 30 more minutes of the show. In the last segment of the show, we're going to get about our game balls. We're going to hear from Coach Mike McDaniel. We're going to hear from Tagovailoa, and we're going to kind of wrap things up as the Dolphins get a big win and get ready to go to Madrid, Spain to play the Washington Commanders, who suffered another loss today. Dolphins win. We're feeling okay. Back after this on Game Day Uncensored Postgame, 104.3 FM, WQAM.
Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami. An Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
The game is ended, and now we begin. It's Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition. Real talk, real reaction, real opinions for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Dolphins win. Dolphins win. Dolphins win. As I said earlier, at the beginning of the day when you woke up and I said, today the score of the game is going to be 30-13, you're going to go, oh, man, Dolphins got killed again by the Bills. Nope. It is the Dolphins that kill the Bills 30-13. Dolphins decided today to take it to the Bills and play their best game of the season. Maybe a little motivation, maybe a new era after Chris Greer got fired. Maybe the Bills, a little bit of sleepiness, sleepwalking. Maybe they spent some time on South Beach or Las Olas and didn't take this game as serious as they should have. Well, that's the Bills, man. The Bills are good for a couple of stinkers every year, but it's finally good that one of their stinkers was against the Miami Dolphins, and I think Dolphins had a little bit of a hand in that, winning 30-13. So let's do it right now with Robert Grieper. I am Dan Day. Let's get to some of our game balls, like Offensive Player of the Game. Offensive Player of the Game is sponsored by Ed Morse Sawgrass Auto Mall. Grieper, your Offensive Player of the Game.
I got to go with the gimme of all gimmies, Achane.
Wow. Best player on the field today. 22 carries, 174 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns on the ground, about 8 yards per carry and an average, but he wasn't done yet because Grieper, he decided to catch some passes too. They figured, this guy's pretty good and it's working. Let's go to Devon Achane. 6 receptions, 51 yards. Some big plays. When you thought that maybe the Dolphins were getting a little bogged down, he made some big plays.
Tutties.
Big runs at the end to put this thing away when the Dolphins, once again, could have been the Dolphins. Said, we got a guy.
Not so fast, my friend.
Just, let me get a half a step. Like they said on TV, if he gets even, he's gone. If you're a defender and Devon Achane or Jalen Waddle get even with you, they're gone. Goodbye. See you later.
They were.
Absolutely, man. Devon Achane is playing at an all-pro level, not even an all-star level. What do you call him? Pro Bowl level. He's playing at an all-pro level. But that's going to be kind of hard with some of the likes in the league of Jonathan Taylor. We saw how important he is to the Indianapolis Colts and the way his team's doing good. But Devon Achane definitely at a Pro Bowl level, should be in the Pro Bowl, maybe an all-pro. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out for the Dolphins. And, of course, Devon Achane. I'm guessing he'll get a few more of our game balls as the season goes on because for the past 2 years now, or at least year and a half, he has seemed like the best player on the team. My Offensive Player of the Game, which once again is sponsored by Ed Morse Sawgrass Auto Mall. I'm going to go to Jalen Waddle because I felt as though today he worked the rookie over there for Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills rookie out of Kentucky that was just, he could not do anything right. You kind of just, he pass interfered and it still didn't matter because Waddle still caught the pass. And I think once and for all, I feel is very confident in saying Waddle is a true number 1 in this league. He's in the top 10 of all receivers in the league for yards. He caught a lot of passes today. He was a go-to. He looks like, even if they put their best cornerback on him, he is going to find a way to get some yards and get some good stuff going. Jalen Waddle offensively always looked like the best receiver on the field. 5 receptions, 84 yards, and that one big touchdown where he was pass interfered, but it did not matter. He made that catch. So Jalen Waddle, congratulations on getting that game ball. Which now leads us to the player of the game, sponsored by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business with a 4.8 Google rating and over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate. Robert Grieper, give me your JM Lexus player of the game.
I'm going to go with the player from Alabama, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Tua Tagovailoa.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. Not going there. But he changed the game so much. In critical positions of this game, he stepped up. That 2-point conversion, where would that game be if they actually got it? Turnover, recovery, he stepped up, and he was a leader on the field that made it happen.
He did look like a defensive player playing on the next level. And not surprisingly, I'm going to give my player of the game also on the defensive side of the ball. I'm kind of tossed up between, I don't know if I want to go. They were both on the same play, making some big things. Juju Brents, I thought he looked great. I thought he had some big pass breakups. Or maybe Jack Jones. Who? Jack Jones. I'm going to give it to Jack Jones because he's one of those guys. I like the guys that keep battling, keep fighting, and the guys that, like the Dolphins a lot, they can take it, but they can also dish it. I've said a lot of times, Jack Jones, his pass covering style is just to hold on and hope I don't get called for a flag. He did a lot this year. I think it's even felt like sometimes referees were they throw the flag and be like, oh, I can't continually call pass interference on Jack Jones. And they take the flag up. But Jack Jones, I thought, played like a baller today. Only one pass interference. They did not accept the penalty. But Jack Jones, I thought, was in position. I thought he got some big plays. And he had a play that single-handedly changed the game as the team is up 13-0. It looks like the Buffalo Bills are getting their house in order. They're driving down the field. James Cook breaks out a big run, tries to get some extra yardage, and right before his knee hits the ground, Jack Jones comes with the punch, punches the ball out. Juju Brents gets the recovery. That is one of those plays that totally changed the game. So Jack Jones, not just for that play, but for being in position and making the plays when you had the opportunities and not pass interfering as much as you have in the past games, I will give you my player of the game. The defense definitely deserved to have players of the game today because that defense looked like an angry, very talented defense today, and that has not always been the case for these Miami Dolphins. One more game ball to get to. Drive the Game, sponsored by Lexus Golden Sales Opportunity. Get offers on select models now. Learn more at Lexus.com. Of course, some of those big Achane runs, you could just say those are the drives of the game because they put the game away. They were fun. They were exciting. You knew Achane, once he got past that first wave, ain't catching him. But you got to give it to that first sustained drive for a touchdown in the game. In the first quarter, the first series was about as ugly and an inauspicious start as you can have. The false starts, the interceptions. You thought this team was going to go in the wrong direction. But no. After they stopped the Buffalo Bills on their first 3 and out of the season to start a game, Buffalo Bills, to get this, their first possession of every game this year has either ended in a touchdown or a field goal. They've never punted on a first possession. We got a 3 and out and a punt. Get the ball back. 12-play, 92-yard drive. It ended with a Tua Tagovailoa touchdown pass to Malik Washington, 7-0 with 4:49 in the first quarter. And it was all easy business from that point for our Miami Dolphins, who just seemed to be the better team today, the more prepared team, the more motivated team. Take your victories where you can get them and feel good about that. Guess I'm feeling good today. One Tua Tagovailoa. He did throw 2 interceptions. He does lead the league in interceptions now with 13 total interceptions. But he did his part, and he got the win. And he spoke with the media after the game. Kind of said what we're kind of saying right now as Dolphins fans. Man, feels good to finally beat the Buffalo Bills.
Is it given that to come out here and have such a complete game today?
It's very satisfying. We beat a great team today, and I'm proud of the guys in the locker room. Defense did what they needed to do. Offense did what we needed to do to some extent, and then special teams, they did what they needed to do to help us collectively, win this football game. So I'm proud of the team, proud of those guys in that locker room, and, this is one of those where, I want to say, I'm very proud because I see the work that they put in and day out, and this is one that, I think the team deserves.
How did Achane affect the game today?
I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. I think that affects the game. Every time you can get someone like that, a playmaker on your team, you get him the ball in his hands and you know what he's capable of doing. But it's not just that. It's also in the pass game where he helps us thrive as well. So having someone like that who can align at running back, who can align at slot or at receiver, I think that tells you a lot about, the playmaker he is.
I imagine you had to feel pretty good that you still have Jalen Waddle alongside you when you threw that deep touchdown to him. What's that like after all those rumors swirling around to still have him and connect like that in a big way?
That's me and Dub. That's our connection that we've had, even being at Alabama. So Vaughn even called it. Vaughn was talking about that play too. That when we talked about it, he called like that's yo. So we had to make that play, and Waddle made that play.
There's so much swirling around, and especially with you, should they start looking at other people? Are you going to be here next year? All that stuff. And I know you guys, how you handle that. You don't. So is it at all, I mean, during the week, does it make you more focused? Do you make a direct attempt to just not even look forward? Or how do you handle it all like that?
I think for me, the more I try to focus or overly try to do something, I tend to get worse at what I'm doing. Because that's not how I operate with how I do things. With me watching film, with me doing my own walkthroughs after watching film, what those might look like. I don't think doing more for myself or trying to overly cook that is going to better myself. And I've understood that throughout, just the past month about myself. When I just go do what I need to do, understand reasons as to why we're doing it, play calm, play togetherness football. That's what this sport is about. That's why it's a team sport. It's not about one individual.
That stuff isn't even like,
Yeah, it helps that I don't have social media. That's why. So, none of that unless one of my teammates have something to say and they're like, "Hey, you didn't see this or that." So
Every win counts for one, but is Buffalo a little bit more special because they've had such success in the division and success against your team?
Yeah, I would say both could be true, right? Every time you can get a win in the NFL, that's special. But given the times we've played Buffalo in the past and have gotten close and then have gotten blown out, I think that this one definitely makes it that much more special that it was against Buffalo, a division rival. They've had our number for years, and so to be able to, the last time that we play them this year, being that we beat them, that's a special feeling.
The team that won today and against Atlanta, is part of you like, why aren't we doing that every week? What's clicked today in Atlanta that it hasn't clicked other weeks?
Sorry, say that again.
The team that won today and the
Yep.
team that won in Atlanta, decisive wins. What clicked in those weeks that hasn't clicked the rest of the year?
I think everyone's motives are pure. I think some of us take it more upon ourselves to try to do other people's jobs when that's not our job. And so you hear Mike talk a lot about conviction in what you're doing and trusting that everyone has conviction in what they're doing, where they're going to be in the pass game. For the running backs, the space that they're going to have to find, where those holes are going to be for them in the run game. So it's just having conviction for ourselves individually, trusting that the entirety of everyone is going to do what they need to do and what they're supposed to do.
It's okay with you taking those deep shots, third and longs, because if they get picked off, it's just like a long punt anyway. Was that like a mindset that had to shift to go ahead and take those shots anyway, not be worried about throwing an interception on those?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a mindset shift. It was more so when we got a certain look, when we got one-on-one with Jalen and it was single high safety, that no matter what, we wanted to take that shot. And, we want to give one of our best guys on the offense an opportunity to go one-on-one with whoever their DBs are. And so, got to make a better play, both me and Ski. But outside of that, that's what we were told to do.
So there you have it. Tua Tagovailoa talking about the game. Feels good to beat the Buffalo Bills. Those interceptions were like punts. I don't know. I think he answered that one pretty right. Like, that's not the mindset that if they intercepted, it's just like a long punt. I got to be better than that.
I don't know. They kind of were more like ducks.
Punts might have a little more velocity. No, I'm kidding on that. Well, so the Dolphins do win 30-13. Tua Tagovailoa. They're talking about everything that works right and how you got to be accountable and how you have to trust and you have to play that way. It all comes from the head coach, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel spoke afterwards, was asked about the leadership on the team. It's been a big issue on this team over the past couple of weeks. Let's hear a little bit from Mike McDaniel on leadership and some of the other notes from this big 30-13 win over the hated Buffalo Bills.
I think the factors were for this team to put together such a complete performance.
It always starts, with with the leadership, the captains, and the leadership council setting the tone. But realistically, it was a full week of preparation that was diligent and, quite honestly, a little salty. So, I think it was the attention to detail. It was the focus on the style of football we were going to play, not the results that were going to come. And, there was some complimentary football at its finest where, you get a stop, you get a special teams play, and you get points. And that football 101, even with a couple, throws that I was actually really pumped. I told Tua on some third down calls to let it rip down the field and kind of operate it as an opportunity ball to, act as a punt. Still, with all that, we ended up in the plus. So, by and large, we just executed on the things that we set out to execute. So I think that was the biggest difference.
Penalty before the game even started, really, and the interception from Tua. How are you guys able to overcome those early mistakes?
I think, it's the unintended consequence of adversity. I think we've had our fair share of reps of having things not, play out the way you kind of set out for them to play out. And the young team that, we have a lot of young players that have been learning on the fly. And I think, it was a good game of maturation in that way. So it was good to have a complete effort. And when you get complete efforts like that and you don't allow things to play a factor in your style of play, regardless if it's whatever a call you don't believe is right or a play that the opposing team makes, I was very proud of our resolve and our focus to get the job done.
What did happen on that timeout? Was that intended, the very first one, or was there some miscommunication with an official?
Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to get fined, so I called the timeout to have a information gathering session. We had a nice direct conversation, and then we moved on with our lives.
The Dolphins declined to trade Devon Achane or Jalen Waddle, despite multiple reports that there were multiple offers. How do you feel about the team's decision on to not trade either of those players?
I think our team's decision. Fortunately, I'm part of the team, and so I'm happy with our collective decision. But that's, again, I think it's frustrating every trade deadline to me because I think there's like 30% of the information is reported realistically. Like that is very, very normal to have people check in if you have a losing record. That's pretty much the autopilot of the entire National Football League is you try to see if there's anybody willing to jump into let go of their best players. I think with our record at 2-7 at the time, 10 times out of 10 you're going to get calls on every player that you have that other teams want. So I think the main thing is that we were I've never once thought about those dudes not as a Dolphin, and it's only healthy business not to turn your phone off. But I think it's pretty status quo. I wish they reported every person that was inquired about across the league, and it would dilute that as a headline.
So Mike McDaniel, good thing, man. You didn't trade Devon Achane or Jalen Waddle. Glad to have him on the team. Robert Grieber, we're going to bring him in. Is it because we won? Or are we seeing and hearing a new Mike McDaniel? Are we hearing a Mike McDaniel that now realizes he can't be everybody's friend and that sometimes the best thing you can do is give a little tough love to these big-time athletes because he does kind of act and sound like a different man?
Did he just call them both dudes?
Yeah, he did call them dudes.
We all know the only dude is out there is for the Big Lebowski, right?
Yeah, man.
I just want to make sure, But I don't know. I'm still trying to discern what Mike McDaniel is actually coming across saying at his press conferences.
Oh, I see. Well, I can break it down. Really, I thought it was really cool when they asked him, the way the game started, how did you overcome that? He said, well, adversity, it's the effects of adversity. We made the most of it, and we faced our problems and we fixed them. And then why'd you call the timeout on the first series before the first play? Said, I don't want to get fined, but we had to have an adult conversation, an informational meeting to kind of find out what happened. I think it's Mike McDaniel. And once again, when you win, you see everything through rose-colored glasses. Growing as a coach, being like, hold up, timeout, this can't happen. Alec Ingold did not have an illegal shift. It was not a false start. This cannot happen again. You need to make it up to me. It means a lot to me. I'm going to call a timeout before the game even starts. And I'm going to, you know what? He's using choice words. You can see him on the sideline. You might have a new Mike McDaniel, and it's not what you want. You want your coach to grow, adapt, and get better. Now, his record hasn't gotten better over the years, but maybe Mike McDaniel's realizing you have to have diversity in your coaching. Not this, it's okay, you're great.
I understand that, but as you said earlier, does a leopard change its spots?
Once again, yeah, you can't have that really nice teacher come in one day and start chewing you out. You look like, no.
The only way that actually works is if you overhaul the entire roster and nobody's there that saw you as that person before.
Right. That's what they always say. And I keep going back to relationships or even at work. If you have a problem with something, put your foot down early, because you can't come back a year later and say, I don't do this at the radio station. Well,
we walked all over you for the past year.
You never had a problem before. Who are you? So maybe it's too little too late for Mike McDaniel, but like I always say, Grieper, we're going to celebrate our wins. We're going to move on from our losses and hopefully learn from both of them. Today we learned Miami Dolphins came out with a fire and maybe played a little more freer for whatever reason. Mike McDaniel basically told them, stop thinking, start executing, do your job. The other guy do their job. And they definitely looked like that. So on to the next one, Madrid. 9:30 a.m. Sunday will be pregame, will be postgame. We'll have all of it for you. Grieper, you're going to come back next week for the postgame. We're going to have a whole lot of fun, and hopefully it'll be another fun week as we take on the Commanders. Madrid. Tonight, we're going to have the pregame up for you in just a minute for the Steelers-Chargers. I can't wait for that game. I'm going to go home and have a couple of PBRs and watch that game. You can listen to it also here on 104.3 FM WQAM. But we win today 30-13 against the big bad Buffalo Bills. Feels good to exercise those demons. Deep breath. Feels good. Now on to Madrid, Spain to play the Washington Commanders without Jaden Daniels, with Marcus Mariota, and our team at least riding a high. If you're going to the trip, of course, you can listen to us on the Odyssey app. If not, you know where to find us. 104.3 FM WQAM on Instagram, Twitch, and of course, right here on your radio, 104.3 FM. For Robert Grieper, I am Dan Day. Dolphins win! This has been Game Day Uncensored Postgame on 104.3 FM, WQAM, Miami sports leader.